You are about to opt in to Monerotopia, a show for the Monero community where all are welcome to join. From noob to maxi, no matter what bags you hold. Just sit back and relax to the sweet sounds of Monero's latest progress. Or if you're feeling inspired, join us on stage. Remember, the only thing that can stop Monero is a false belief that it can be stopped. And if you want to win the revolution faster, we recommend you remove your XMR from all custodial exchanges immediately. Warning, voting accidents are common around here. Don't forget to properly secure your private keys. Monerotopia starts now.
All right. Good morning. Shortwave, what's going on?
Good morning. Welcome one and all to the Monerotopia Late Show.
It's, this show goes in accordance with my schedule, unfortunately, but we make it happen. We do a pretty good job, Shortwave, right? We're here every week.
The show must go on.
We're not the nightly news. We don't have that budget. But we do a pretty good job. I mean, we've been consistent, man. We've been out here for years now. So we gotta pat ourselves on the back for that, at least.
What a heck of a week.
Oh my God, dude. Things are right. The Matrix keeps throwing new things at us, man. Things just keep ramping up. It's getting wacky out there. It's getting crazy. It's sad. It's sad to see. It's sad to see the effect it's having on our country. Feels like, I'll just jump to it right now, right? Feels like just somebody's trying to pull a divide and conquer in the United States of America. Not a left thing or a right thing, but people, some group that's manipulating society and trying to turn people against each other. Certainly feels like that is what's happening. Could it just be the natural occurrence of events? Just some crazy dude who wanted to take out Charlie Kirk? Sure, I guess that's possible. But it does feel like we've been brought to this place.
I mean, I think Lynn Alden has the right of it with the whole Broken Money, the title of her book. When you break the money, you break society. And I think that's what we're seeing.
Yeah, it's always been a slow encroachment towards this goal, right? I think we've defined it as dystopian technocracy. That's kind of my overarching theory. I tend to agree with that one, right? That there's dark forces that are moving us towards that end goal, because that is their ultimate, form of success, right? If they can fully control all of society, it's game over. And I think we've always been kind of creeping towards that. There's always been psychopaths throughout history that wanted to move us towards more totalitarianism, more control, more power. But now it's happening at a time when the technology is there to pull these things off. With AI, with all their surveillance tech, with Palantir sitting in the White House. And it seems like they're making exponential progress. And yes, not to just be a naysayer, I think we're making a lot of progress on our end. Like you said, you break, when the money's broken, the world is broken. A lot of us have woken up to that. We're all the cypherpunks, the crypto anarchists. And so we are on the other side. We are fighting to stop this, what seems like inevitable technocratic dystopia. And we're doing that by building tech that they can't mess with. So, not to make this about us, but I do feel like ultimately this is the battle to fight, right? If you're out there and you're an amped up Republican or you're an amped up Democrat and you're pissed at the other side, you're being fooled. You're being fooled. You need to focus on the right battle, really see what the war is, and funnel that energy towards it. Because if you funnel it in the wrong direction, you're just helping the adversary. I can't exactly say who the adversary is, right? It's hard to define, but we know there's dark forces out there that are trying to essentially take over, right, and run the world using their technology, and essentially have us all be slaves to their system. We're already there to some degree. So I think people need to realize that that's the war that's at hand. Who that exact enemy is, obviously people define it as different things, different groups. I think even kind of getting into that and define, saying exactly who you think the group is where you start to run into trouble too, because often sometimes people will define it as an entire class of people that are the problem, that are the evildoers. I think that's where people really cross the line. And once again, it starts to become more divisive than unifying. So I think my overarching advice, if I had, the bully pulpit and I was able to get the word out to the people, would be: do not let them divide us. Realize there's much stronger, powers at play here. There's evil at play here. And realize they're trying to effectively destroy humanity, and to not turn to your neighbor and think your neighbor is your enemy, or to think the person that's on the opposite political side of the spectrum of you is the enemy. Realize they're trying to make you think those people are the enemy. But it's the those of us that appreciate liberty, appreciate freedom, appreciate individuality. Those are the people that you need to unite. And for the most part, most people do believe in those values. Most people want those things. They want to live free, happy lives, raise a family, be with their family, be left alone. That's what like any person who isn't mentally deranged, that's what they want. And so that's where we need to unite around that shared goal, and realize the people, us, the society, people that we live among, with, are not the enemy, but there's some deeper enemy here, and we need to overcome it by uniting and preventing their progress.
I think if you haven't heard the song by Tom MacDonald called "The System," you absolutely need to. Welcome to the system. Everyone's a victim. Doesn't matter, black or white, it hates you all. Here inside the system, violence is a symptom, fighting for what's right, but somehow everyone is wrong. I think that resonates really deeply right now.
Oh, yeah. Beautifully said, man. Can we play that?
I don't have it up, but if you want to bring it up, it's called Tom MacDonald, MacDonald, The System. It's on YouTube. It's a wonderful, wonderful song.
Yeah, and so we're in the thick of it right now, right? We've seen things continue to escalate, but this Charlie Kirk thing seems to be a new level that's been reached. Where it goes from here, I do not know. I don't know. Shortwave. What's your take? I mean, for me, this it's the same no matter what. Focus on Monero. Focus on opting out, right? I see Monero as the best tool for that, but focus on opting out. That's a good place to put your energy, with good people. Build a system outside of theirs, and that's where we should be focusing.
Tony says he'll be here in about 10 minutes and we can do the news segment. As far as Charlie Kirk goes, I really didn't know him because I'm not a very political person. I don't pay much attention. So I didn't even know the name until this happened.
You didn't even know his name. Wow.
I didn't even know his name until this happened.
Yeah, I mean, I knew his name, but I never really stopped to watch him much. I just kind of wrote him off as kind of like a mainstream media guy, right? Like he's just like an arm of the mainstream Republican Party that's in charge of like bringing in young people. I kind of wrote him off as that. I didn't listen to him much, but now I've gone back and listened to him. Very impressive person, a very skilled debater, very principled in his way. I mean, people might disagree fundamentally with some of his views, but he seems to be very consistent in his principles from the things I listened to him. Obviously very religious, very Christian, applying those ideals and philosophies to his opinions on everything, and he seemed to be very consistent, which is, virtuous, right? People that are principled, whether or not you agree with their principles, but people that are and stick to their principles, and he certainly seems to be that type of character. Conspiracy theories that are going around is that he started to notice things, right? People like to use that term, right? A noticer, right? So he started to question Israel. Before that, my understanding is he was quite the shill for the pro-Israel argument, and basically representing being a leader of, the right-wing Christian movement, and so as part of that, part of his message was always being pro-Israel, right? And it's important for those that are pro-Israel that they keep this right-wing Christian movement on their side. They don't want to lose that huge group of people, because they lose that, they potentially lose, the backing of the entire United States. So the theory is that he started to question things, and given his platform, given his potential to turn people, that he was taken out. Obviously it's just completely theoretical, but who knows? Like, I'll say it right now. I'm not opposed to such theories. It looks like they've apprehended somebody. All right. So then the next thing would become, is this guy a patsy? Was he part of a bigger thing? Was there some state behind this? If not, Israel, that, as people are alleging, if it was some other state that was behind this, somebody, some group that was looking to, display this atrocity in front of the world and create a moment, like similar to a 9/11 moment, right? A moment where everybody remembers, a moment that tears at your heartstrings, that like physically affects you and makes you want to do something, fills you with rage or whatever, or sadness, or and I'd have to say, I always err on the side of it must be some state entity or large mafia that's behind something like that.
And as much as you might have disagreed with him or agreed with him, I don't know. As I said, I haven't listened to him. I think I'm going to go back and listen to some of his stuff, because apparently the Bitcoin community, he had some good things to say about the Bitcoin and crypto community in general. So I think, from what I understand, he was very principled, and the fact that he was killed, for speaking his mind, that's not okay. Like, everybody in this country has the freedom of speech, and that should not have resulted in his death.
Right. If that becomes the new line that we divide on, those that are okay with people saying what they need to say, especially it's of a political nature, and those that are on the side of, no, if people are saying things like that, it's okay to kill them because we're helping society by not letting their message grow. That seems like the new battle lines. I will absolutely fight for that. That's what I do. That's what Monero is all about, right? I just see that as the best way to fight for that. But I will also publicly fight for that, do whatever we need to do to make sure that maintains being the norm here in the United States. But you see you're seeing people out there that are responding to this. They're interviewing young people at colleges, the people that have been affected by the woke mind virus, and they're giving the response, oh, yeah, whatever, he had it coming, or, well, who's next? Who else is on the hit list? That guy, whatever, he was a Nazi, he deserved to die, right? So that's perhaps the most terrifying part of this, is the reaction that you're seeing from some people where they are okay with this. They're cheering it. They're cheering it on. They see it as a win, in spite of the fact that, they've just completely trampled on free speech, and didn't respect this basic value that we're supposed to uphold here, whether or not you agree. And this guy did the ultimate form of it too, right? It was political speech, and he would take it to the people that disagreed with him, and he'd face them face to face, and he'd have discussions. Like, that is free speech at its best. Right? He wasn't just off on Twitter being a troll, like saying he was confronting the other side, having open debates and discussions about it. and then he got taken out at the pinnacle at one of these large open debates at a university, truly representing the ideal of free speech, right? That's what universities are supposed to be all about. It's supposed to be where people come together and share ideas. They can have disagreements. And he got taken out in that venue. So very symbolic, right? It was a direct. It was perhaps a way to chill speech, right? Perhaps a way to chill speech, get people to think twice. But it does seem like it's having the opposite effect, right? So I don't know. I imagine they would have to factor that in. Whoever did this, if it is some entity beyond some individual, they would have to factor in that this could all backfire, right? That it would just motivate people more to kind of fight for their liberty and freedom. It would cause more people to notice what's going on. So you have to consider that angle as well.
Oh, absolutely. As you say, you may not like. I may not like what you have to say, but I'll fight for your right to say it.
100%. Guys, we have 76 live viewers here. A little slow today. Let's like and share. Let's get a bunch of people in here. Obviously, this isn't a political show. We try to stay away. I shouldn't say we try to stay away from it because we talk about stuff all the time. But all these things do relate to what we're doing here, right? As I've already said, what I see the actual battle being about, what the struggle's actually about. And Monero relates to all these things. When we see, free speech slipping, right? What's Monero? Monero is, in my opinion, one of the greatest tools for absolute free speech that can't be censored or affected in any way, allowing individuals, wherever they are in the world, to effectuate speech through the form of money. Money is speech. I do agree with that assessment. It is a form of speech. Spending your money is a form of speech. It's an act of speech, and it's a quite effective one. And Monero does it in a way that no matter, even if there are people trying to stop it, even if there is some government entity or some mafia that doesn't want it to exist, Monero is built in a way where it's very hard for them to do that. And so that's why all these things relate, right? That's why we talk about what's going on in the world constantly, because it absolutely does relate. And it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter if you're of left ideology or right ideology. There are a lot of people, even if they're coming from either one of those sides, that do ultimately agree with needing to maintain these type of ideals: free speech, the freedom to associate, the basic Bill of Rights, right? The Fourth Amendment, right? That basically doesn't allow the government to come into our homes, doesn't allow the government to spy on us. A lot of people on both sides, thankfully do still agree with those values. And so, Monero itself should be a unifying technology. It should be bringing in people from all sides. Anybody that agrees with those basic concepts, whether you're, on the left side, the right side, wherever you are politically, should want to support Monero if they ultimately believe in those basic concepts.
Absolutely. Apparently, Bawdy, our resident technical analyst, is here.
All right. Edward McLean, nation states are the largest mafia gangs, 100%, right? They are the most effective mafia. They're the top dog.
And the way we fix that is to use Monero, because the more we use Monero and other crypto that they can't control, the more defunded they become. And when when they don't have money to pay the police will abandon them.
It is the most effective thing we could do as people. And we could do it in a peaceful way, right? We don't have to pick up a weapon. We don't even have to confront them. We turn our back on them, right? So we don't let them suck any of our energy out. We turn our back on them, and we just focus our energy among each other using this tool. And as we do that, it will have the greatest possible impact we can, as Shortwave is saying, in terms of defeating them and weakening them, right? And preserving our liberty in the digital age, literally by just ignoring them, working amongst ourselves, keeping our head down, and using this thing that they can't stop, which will eventually suck the power out of their system. All right. Yeah, we might as well bring Bawdy up now. Otherwise, I'll just keep blabbing over here. But I think that it's important to get these ideas out there. We can't ignore them, guys. We can't keep our heads in the sand. I know there's probably some people that are like, "Oh, why are we even talking about this?" Right? There's some people that are so, black pilled, whatever. They think it's that we shouldn't even be talking about these things, right? That it's all all a scam, whatever. But no, it's reality. It's important to talk about these things. All right, let me go ahead and run the price report, and we'll get Bawdy up here.
All right.
The Monerotopia Price Report segment is sponsored by Exolix, a privacy-focused, non-custodial instant crypto exchange. Go to exolix.com to enjoy secure and completely anonymous swaps with no KYC or sign-up. Swap between Monero and 2,000 plus assets at the most competitive rates and with no limits. Exolix.com, your fast and secure way to privacy.
Welcome to Clown World, Bawdy. How are you enjoying your stay?
Buenos dias.
Morning.
My stay. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm going to come back.
Can't blame you.
I'm not sure if I wish I knew if I had a choice, like sometimes I'm used to myself. It would be really helpful to know whether or not like you're stuck here until you fix humanity. Like, not obviously I can't fix humanity, but until we fix humanity.
Maybe it's a Hotel California thing. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave.
I mean, I feel like that's basically existence, right? Just like consciousness. There's no stopping it. So, but the question is, are we stuck here until humanity rises or ascends, or is this just like a little detour, or maybe not even a detour, just a tour, right? Like a tour of the zoo. I don't know, right? So who knows such things?
Watching Charlie Kirk get taken out like that, though, right? Seeing him go from life to no life like that was wild to see. I mean, there's been other incidents, but this one was like really, really in your face, right?
If you stop and think about it, like how many times and I know this is really morbid, so I apologize for everyone out there, but I guess it's reality. How many times have we actually seen someone die like that? Like almost never. Like almost nobody has actually seen that kind of thing before. You see it in the movies, but maybe they probably some of them capture, what it's like, what it looks like. But
it was our JFK.
Yeah,
it was our JFK moment for this people that are alive now, that didn't experience that. Right? They saw somebody that they knew, that was loved, that was well known, was taken out in public in front of everybody for everybody to see in a very gruesome way. Makes you think, right? It seems like the same playbook, right? It seems like, all right, let's do that thing where we, kill somebody in public that everybody knows.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So definitely some things to be said there about it, but
I don't know, buddy. Yeah, what is your take on things? Obviously, I think you're always pretty consistent, obviously, in your overall arching view. But yeah, would love to hear how.
I honestly, I didn't even know who Charlie Kirk was, or I didn't know the name until everyone started talking about it. So, and then I saw his face, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess I've seen this guy a few times, and I guess I've seen him debate. I didn't have like a strong emotional reaction to, whether the event or even to Charlie Kirk. I just remember, I'm pretty sure I've seen him a few times, like talk about Israel, and I'd be like, wait, no, that's not. Stop it, dude. Like, stop it, dude. Like, stop. You call yourself a Christian, you're justifying the murder of all these, women and children. I think I saw a couple Nick Fuentes like clips from his show on, was it Thursday or something, and I liked the clip that I saw. He was like, listen, he was kind of my enemy, and he was kind of the problem in a lot of ways. But I don't, now he's gone, and I'm not going to say terrible things about him. I'm going to try and say some nice things about him. there's a little bit of equivocation because Nick Fuentes previous was like, oh, he's not a Christian. He's, obviously he's not a Christian anymore, or if he ever was at all, and now he's. So I mean, I don't know, guys. Whatever. Like, there are people like this happens all the time. Like, yeah, this is the first time you've seen it on live TV with someone that maybe you felt very strongly about, right? I know there's people here in the audience that probably felt, they're trad cons. Some of you guys are conservatives, and I know a lot of you guys felt strongly about Nick Fuentes also Nick Fuentes too, who actually I think is I kind of like him. But like this shit happens all the time. People get murdered in churches and all kinds of terrible things. Just be careful about. I saw a great meme. The Civil War is on pause due to the demographics of the perpetrator not cooperating. I guess I shouldn't laugh about it, but I don't know, guys. Just don't like. I don't know. Whatever. I can't. I don't have anything else to say.
Don't what, buddy? Don't what?
Just don't go overboard with any of it. Like you were yeah, I mean, obviously he was the target, but if you're emotional about this, you were the target. Like, it's just that simple. Right. And don't fall for the same playbook. In fact, I doubt very few people here are falling for the same playbook with the fake Trump assassination. But I mean, they killed some real guys, with the Trump assassination. We didn't. We didn't. It's just that he was popular. Like, this guy was really popular, and a lot of people really liked him. So now they're like outraged. I've seen more outrage towards the left over this thing than I've seen leftists saying nasty things. Like, I don't know, whatever. Like everyone's like, oh, we got to stop the left now. It's like, no, can you
That's
unite against real bad guys?
Yeah, that is absolutely the wrong response. It's the response they wanted to evoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when you see something like this happen and you feel yourself getting emotional about it, that's when they've achieved their goal, right? So what you need to do at that moment is realize that and say, why am I being emotional? Who's trying to make me emotional right now? What are they trying to get me to do? Yeah, so. All right, yeah, buddy, we'll let you take it away with price. It seems like it looks like things were picking up a little bit in terms of crypto.
Yeah.
Checking in on Monero's price, every once in a while. It looks like it's been more green than red lately, so that's cool.
Just can't rely on Kraken anymore.
Oh, yeah, get into that. I'm sure you'll mention that. And then after Bawdy, we'll bring up Tony. We'll do the news. Guys, like and share, retweet. Let's get more people in here. If anybody, I don't have any special guests lined up for today. I didn't have time to pull that together. If there's anybody that thinks they got what it takes to be the special guest, hit us up. DM us. We're open to any and all topics as long as we could somehow keep it related to digital cash. So you're welcome to jump up if you want to be the special guest. I saw this guy Wizard that was here talking. I don't know who that is, but it looks like he left now. Wizard, if you want to potentially be the special guest, I saw you hanging up here, chatting in the private chat. But yeah, without further ado, Bawdy, take it away.
Yeah, so I think I just started sharing my screen.
Oh, all right. You know what? Let me run price one more time, actually, because then that'll be good for the segment.
The Monerotopia Price Report segment is sponsored by Exolix, a privacy-focused, non-custodial instant crypto exchange. Go to exolix.com to enjoy secure and completely anonymous swaps with no KYC or sign-up. Swap between Monero and 2,000 plus assets at the most competitive rates and with no limits. Exolix.com, your fast and secure way to privacy.
Monero's a stable coin price report over.
No, I think we're actually setting up to be slightly less stable, hopefully. So
good way.
All right. Let me get to the Monero chart. And sorry that this always takes me just a second, but I have to adjust my screen. Let's see. Do you want to put my screen on full screen? Or the charts on full screen?
Okay. Oh, okay. Here we go. Sorry. You good?
All right, so you can see, guys, that that we have had some little bit of positive price action, so that's a nice thing to see finally. After God, after this nice big fat fall off. But you know, again, all in all considered, like forget about the hack, forget about the attack, right? And just stop and think, hey, what if it was like calm times, right? What if things were just normal? And we had a big breakout, and then we found some support right at exactly the spot that you'd want to find it, and then you start moving up again, right? Especially if we start doing this, you would look at that and say, hey, that's actually sustainably good price action, right? There's nothing wrong with that. And if you keep doing this kind of action over the course of many months and years, you end up at a place where Monero is $1,000 or more. And we should already be at $1,000, but we won't ruminate on that on that negativism for the meantime. But yeah, you can see for the last couple of days we've had a little bit of a breakout here, about 6-7%. And this actually was setting up, you know, on a shorter time frame. You could kind of see. I wasn't too sure last week exactly which direction this thing was going to break, but at some point midweek, I started thinking to myself, I almost even posted about it, you know, just to break from the drama of the real world. I almost posted, hey, this thing's about ready to actually make a move to the upside. So we'll see how far this can go, but right now I think this looks fine. It's interesting that it also correlated with Kraken releasing their withdrawals again. So what did you guys do, Kraken? Did y'all freeze withdrawals like everybody else because you sold a bunch of fake Monero to keep the price capped while you could, and then bought enough Monero or mined enough Monero or made a deal with Cubic or whoever to get the Monero that you needed and then open with your withdrawals again? I don't know. Could just be happenstance. Kraken, we're not accusing you exactly, but we just, at this point, you've lost the benefit of the doubt. Your excuses were bullshit. You've never shut down withdrawals for multiple days at a time. So we just can't try, like, and then, you know, like we've talked about before, Jesse Powell is gone. So, you know, he seemed pretty based. He seemed pretty, you know, not your typical suit. And he did something that in the face of what a lot of other people didn't want to do, hardly any other exchange would do, is just to keep Monero listed. And then y'all started delisting in Europe, and okay, maybe Europe's kind of cucked, but whatever. I don't know, guys. Like, it's going to be hard to, you've lost all benefit of the doubt in my mind. I don't want to outright accuse you in the same way that, you know, like CZ belongs in prison kind of stuff, because we knew exactly what he was doing. You know, all we have right now is the very, very suspicious thing that you froze withdrawals for multiple days at a time against basically everybody. And you did it at the same time that the entire rest of the price attack was happening. So you don't have any more benefit of the doubt. Sorry. Everybody switched to Rito and any other platform. Ideally, again, peer-to-peer platform. You know, make your switch. It's time to do that. We just have to assume that at this point, guys, we cannot rely on the idea that Kraken would not delist Monero. If they haven't delisted it in the United States yet, you know, that's a good sign that they didn't delist it in the United States. But I don't think we can count on that anymore. So just know that you're going to have to prepare for that if Kraken is a part of your quote unquote workflow, which isn't quite the right word, but you know what I mean. All right. But yeah, I think Monero has a good chance here in a price sense to continue moving towards the upside. I think crypto is actually looking fairly positive, as we've talked about. Let's actually take a look at the XMR dominance, because this chart is interesting. That's the weekly. Let's go to the daily. It's interesting that we basically came down again to the lower standard deviation levels, right? This is a very big headliner level. I consider the daily chart with Wave Magic to actually be typically pretty damn good. It's not always perfect. You can see, like, for example, here's a great example where it didn't actually work out so well, and you really, really crushed to the downside. This action, right, to do that kind of thing is very rare, but this was a fundamental event, right? This was the delisting. Wow, this was actually pre-delisting. This was entrance into the bull market. Wow, actually, okay, no, that was, sorry, talking out my ass there. This was this year. This was like just before 2025, November, December 2024. So yeah, I mean, it's rare for that kind of thing to happen, but you know, you still get breakdowns. So just know that, again, this is why we think of it in terms of probabilities and not in terms of hard levels. But in this case, especially since we already established, you know, this kind of like breakdown here, like you already established that, and then came back out of it. This is actually another way that in my mind I look at things sometimes and I say, yeah, that was bullshit. That was an induced move. That wasn't a real move. because this level should have held really well. Like sometimes you'll go just a little bit below it, but that should have held, but it didn't. It broke down severely and then immediately came back to the upside, right? And then Monero, and then things went back to the upside. So it's like typically this action shouldn't happen right here. But anyways, that's kind of that's really thinking too much about the past. Let's look at the future. Anyways, yeah, so it was nice. The XMR dominance hit kind of like a low spot here. It has since recovered some. I don't think we're out of the woods yet on XMR dominance. We're in a bull market. You're going to see altcoins going. So for example, like if we were to look at the Bitcoin dominance, which also tells you about altcoin dominance, we said last week that this looks a lot like a bearish flag, right? So flag, bearish, flag, and then more bearish, right? So, and we've been saying also that the total crypto market cap chart looks significantly more bullish than the actual Bitcoin chart. So we are in a situation where we should expect more bullish action in crypto. The macro is stable. We said last week that it was stable, and as long as it continues to look okay, then we're going to continue to basically, I said, you got to be positioned bullish, right? You've got to be long here. If you're not long, you're going to be sad that you weren't. So we were talking, that was in relationship to the XMR dominance. So yeah, the fact that we're going to be looking at more gains overall for the crypto market spells probably, that this XMR dominance chart isn't necessarily going to recover rapidly here anytime soon. I would like to say that the worst is over with the cubic stuff. They seem to be going into the background, but they could resume their network disruptions whenever they want. So, yeah, just know that that's always still on the table. Let's see our divergences here with Kraken potentially being like everybody else now and fractionally reserved. This chart may not mean nearly as much as it used to mean for us, but you can still see that we actually had some positive divergence from Kraken, right? Because that the point of this chart was it was all of these coins versus Kraken. And the reason that we tracked that was because Kraken had never shut down withdrawals for longer than like 30 minutes or an hour for like 4 years when we had been investigating all of this and the fractional reserve and the constant repeated shutdown of withdrawals from Monero, particularly when the crypto market was bullish. We would see the worst shutdowns happen. 2022 is a prime example. August of 2022, the whole market was pumping. They shut down withdrawals, capped price. Monero literally flat topped in price for like 2 weeks. They opened withdrawals after the market started coming back down. Monero spiked for a moment and then fell with the rest of the market. So that it was just all a price manipulation. Anyways, but with Kraken doing whatever the fuck it is that they've done here for the past couple weeks, this chart is less reliable. Even so, we've seen some interesting divergences. This is the volume. This is the volume weighted price divergences. So they're not the absolute price divergences. I think volume weighted makes a difference. It kind of does and doesn't because I don't trust the volume. But still, though, okay, we'll look at their reported volume. Maybe in an absolute sense, their reported volume is false, but maybe in a relative sense, right? So when they get more volume, maybe they report higher volume. Maybe I have to log chart this or something. You can't because it oscillates around zero. You can't do that. You can't take the log of zero. But anyways, yeah, I guess that's enough about this chart. So price divergence. Oh, that's the absolute. So here's the percentage price divergences. So you can see that, things basically oscillate, have been oscillating quite a lot. So I don't know, whatever. Seems kind of boring at the moment. Let's see, XMR versus BTC. Nothing has happened here. We've made a tiny little better gain here in the past couple of days, like 6% relative to BTC. Yeah, okay. Again, this chart is the kind of chart that has experienced a significant level of volatility and is probably going to be consolidating volatility for some period of time. And we're not going to see any massive breakout one way or the other. We shouldn't, at least relative to Bitcoin. So that's Monero for you. Monero versus gold. Again, not much to see here. There was a moment that we had broken out to the top side and, has since come back down a little bit. So let's look at the crypto market. We can see that Dogcoin is performing better than everybody else right now. I guess that's a sign of the times, right? Seems like we're really like entering that bull market. I think people are starting to feel comfortable with that. So they're probably buying their Dogcoins and hoping for that, to relive the glory days of 2021 and even 2017. So Monero bringing up the rear here with fucking FTT token. Jesus, guys, that's so bad. That's so bad when like the scam shitcoin that like can't even get back to the like, and the Monero's performing at that same level. It tells you what this tells you is not so much about how badly Monero's price is suppressed, which it is, but it also tells you about how badly all of these other coins are propped up. These are fake prices. Like the only coin that might have some justification for its price would be Litecoin and Dog, right? Like those are the coins that are actually, like, believe it or not, Dogcoin, and they're actually merge mined. So those two coins actually might have some justification for their price. They're still vastly overpriced, but everything here is just vastly overpriced except for Monero. So yeah, but that's how she rolls, right? Like, did you ever? We were naive at one point to think that this was going to be easy, right? You thought that we were gonna have a big price movement. Everyone's gonna get into Monero, and it's gonna be amazing, and everyone's gonna start using the stuff, and we're gonna like spread the freedom. And sure, we are. But if you thought it was just gonna be that easy to like do some magic stuff online and then and then like right off into the sunset, right? Roll the credits, like, nah, not gonna be that easy. All right, let's take a look at Bitcoin. The Bitcoin is not being such a big abusive daddy lately. He's been kind of calm, and he hasn't been so violent towards us lately. So Bitcoin's still, moving towards the upside, like, doing its little part to contribute to the crypto market, but the rest of the crypto market is outperforming, and we'll be able to see that here in a second. This is the daily chart. So we talked a little bit about how, there was some consternation, things have come down. Oh my God, what are we going to do? But really, it wasn't that bad, right? It's a little bit farther down than you would like to go, right? For something to be like truly, bullish in the kind of way that we all probably want to see. I mean, honestly, I didn't really want to see Bitcoin be that. I wanted to see the altcoins come back here. I just consider Bitcoin another altcoin, right? It's just another shitcoin. Like, it's so stupid. It's limited, whatever, and they're just infighting about everything. Which is unsurprising, right? Like, if the mentality that they fostered is now like they made their bed, now they have to lie in it, right? That's what's happening. They fostered the mentality of this like close-minded, egotistical kind of point of reference for themselves, and now they're attacking each other with it. So, but kind of understandable too, because Bitcoin is like having problems for the purpose that it was supposed to be doing. But anyways. Point is that things came down a little bit farther than you really want to see it come down, but this has been the pattern, right? And this is the territory of diminishing returns. But we've had a nice little comeback, right? Bitcoin's now at 116, and if the action continues positive, dang it, why is that happening? I'm getting this like weird thing where that thing keeps popping up. Whatever. All right. So the kind of action that we want to see that would be like really positive would be for this to overshoot the upper standard deviation bands here. So we want to see Bitcoin at like 119, 120, right? We want to see it get there. Post haste would be the ideal situation, right? This week we want to see it hit 119, 120. Then we need to see it take a cool off period and find support somewhere in the like 117 to 118 area, right? Find some support there and then start moving up again. That would be the most bullish scenario. You could still beat this upper standard deviation band, the blue band, take a tumble here to like 115, and then consolidate upwards more slowly, and that would still be bullish as well. Meanwhile, if we go to the altcoin charts, the total 3 crypto market cap, total 3 is actually looking significantly more bullish, and you can see why, right? Total 3 is actually it's right at its previous all-time high. Let's actually take a little bit more of a longer look here. Yeah, so we're looking here at triple top, which we don't believe in Santa Claus or the Tooth Fairy or triple tops. So this thing is going to be ready to break out soon, and that's total 3, right? So that's altcoins not including, or sorry, that's crypto market cap minus Bitcoin minus Ethereum. So yeah, total 3 is going to start shining. Let's take a look at all of total as well, and you can see that all of total is actually already at new all-time highs, and it has been for some period of time. We made our first new all-time high at the end of last year, beginning of this year, and lately, right, as of the past few weeks, we have been we have made new all-time highs, right? The total crypto market cap newest all-time high was made in July, did some sideways consolidation, and now it looks like it's moving up again. That's the weekly chart. So let's go to the daily chart. And yeah, so again, it's one of these situations. So sometimes it's better to look at the Bitcoin market cap for a clean chart, and sometimes it's better to look at total. And right now it's better to look at total for a clean picture of the chart, right? Because sometimes charts look dirty, and when they're like violating lines and it doesn't, like, there's no patterns there, like you're having to invent and hallucinate patterns like a goddamn LLM, that's when you have to start like asking yourself if you're really actually saying anything. And you prefer charts that are cleaner. If you're a technical trader, right? If you're an algorithmic trader, you want clean charts, not dirty charts, because you can't leverage dirty charts, or you can, but you will probably lose. So this chart is much cleaner, and what we should hope for here is to effectively see these guys right here. They're all upsloping, purple and blue, all upsloping. We should hope to basically stay in this band. At some point, you want to get on the top side of this band and then just ride this thing up. You don't want to do like crazy spiky stuff and then do this. I mean, it can happen, sure, whatever, but if you really want those long-term steady gains, right, what you want to see is consistency and not too much spiky action. So this chart is, again, I mean, you can just see it. Like, I don't have to explain it to you. You can see why this chart is positive, why it's bullish. Everything is upsloping. We're already made new all-time highs. There's nothing feels dangerous, right? So yeah. And then we talked already a little bit about the Bitcoin dominance. And Bitcoin dominance, like we said, hey, you know, this thing is bearish, right? Bitcoin dominance is going down. Don't expect a massive crash off, you know, like we've seen in the past. The last bull market that we had, 2021, this thing just like in a matter of a month or two, a couple months, just went from 61% down to 38%. Massive, right? Don't expect that. But this thing is likely going to continue meandering towards the downside for some period of time. And that's fine, right? That's fine. The movements in crypto are going to get slower. The market caps, we're looking at 4 to 5 trillion, right? We're broaching that 4 trillion, and we're going to be in the 5 trillions soon. So a big ship takes longer to steer, right? To use stupid analogies. And I hate analogies. I don't know. Should I? Yeah, I guess why not? We don't have a special guest. I can ramble. I can rant. Be very careful of analogies, guys. I'll use an analogy to tell you why you should be careful. I'll use an epithet to tell you why you should be careful of analogies. When I got into the semicon industry, my trainer, the guy that was training me up, he actually, I don't know, somehow he got himself into an engineering position without an engineering degree. I'm sure he was a capable technician back in the day, but he would, every time I'd ask him technical questions about like what was going on at the surface of the wafer or some shit like that, he would always use these cute little analogies. And eventually I was like, wait, but no, that's not like that's nice, but that doesn't make sense. And he actually ultimately got fired. It's kind of sad. I didn't want him to get fired or anything. He wasn't a bad guy. But it's like, I use that epithet because like he didn't really know what was going on, so he relied on analogies to do the work for him because he couldn't speak to the material at a very technical level. Like, oh, well, there's silicon oxide and it does, it's forming these kinds of defects on the surface of the wafer when we expose this treatment underneath. Like he couldn't actually speak to the science of it, so he used analogies. So just be very careful about analogies. Like they will get you to a point, but you can't really rely on them like too heavily. Like I was just trying to rely on some analogy here a second ago. So I guess it was like even a knock against myself. All right. All right. Anyways, let's see here. What else do we got to go over? What should we talk about next? I don't know. Here's some specific altcoins that I'm watching. I guess these are not the best altcoins to watch, but I even have Monero down here for reference. Hex, oh my God, I'm ashamed. All right, let's go to a different chart. Forget about that. Let's see here. All right, so we've said since for a long time, we want to see the macro stable. As long as the macro is stable, we're going to assume that we're continuing in this bull market. So starting with oil, this was our alpha into the macro crash scare. The actual, it was like 25% down. So yeah, oil is stable. We're sitting here at 62.5, right? So as long as we're above $60, we're basically going to say it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Seems like oil is still having this kind of propensity to it's sluggish. It doesn't want to recover, right? Like the military industrial complex wants to see their lifeblood pumping at like $70 per barrel, not 60. But I don't know. Maybe they do have some reason. I don't believe in their complete and total control, by the way, guys. So I do think that they have to wrestle with real market forces to try and get things, where they want them, to position them how they want them. So anyways, dollar index also stable, riding on the low side a little bit. In fact, this is starting to feel slightly bearish. So we've had some consolidation time. I don't think this thing is just the bottom's just going to fall out. It's still in a place where you couldn't say for sure if it's going to go up or down. You could maybe try and call this an inverse head and shoulders, right? If maybe you get a little spiky down and then you come back up here and then you do that, you would call that a shoulder. But right now we can't be too sure. All we can really need to know from this chart is as long as it's not spiking towards the upside, should be fine, right? Like even if it spikes to the downside, that's probably fine because it just means actually get long, right? Get bullish, because the market is, it's just when the dollar is weak, it means people are investing. It typically means people are investing in risk. So here is the U.S. Liquidity. This is the central bank balance sheet, right? The Fed balance sheet, the M2 and Treasuries, the U.S. Treasury balance. So it's been going up, and this plays off the stock market, right? The stock market will go up, so then people will print more money because the valuation of their underlying assets, like when Elon Musk wants to print money, what does he do? He takes loans against his stock, and loans equal printing money, right? He is the biggest welfare whore in America. He has the most receipt of printed money out of like almost anybody, right? Like, I don't know. I haven't done the math. Maybe Bill Gates gets more, but he is like one of the prime recipients of printed money. So anyways, these charts play off each other. So the liquidity goes up. People take more loans because now their stocks are worth more. So the valuation is higher. They can justify more loans, and more loans means more M2, more liquidity. And more liquidity means that you can take more loans. So this is what's happening, right? So we got the M2. We have the net liquidity of the United States moving towards the upside. That is completely unsurprising. And we have gold making big breakout here. Like, so we said, hey, a couple weeks ago we said, I'm not too sure, but once this thing gets going, that's the direction that's going to go. So gold currently performing well. Let's go to the daily. And my purple line here, still for reference, I don't expect us to massively beat this purple line. And if we do, it will come back down to it. Like, it's just that simple. And on a long-term basis, you shouldn't expect to beat this purple line by too much. So this is going to be kind of a capping level for us, but it's nice. I shouldn't say capping because that implies a little bit more hardcore than I would have, than I want to communicate. But it's not like it can get out of hand, right? Things could go higher. It's very possible. But at the same time, I wouldn't expect it to go too crazy higher. And however much higher it goes than this purple line, it is going to come back down to it, right? That is one thing you can be certain of. So you might be able to use that, even say, all right, well, how far are we above it? Maybe I want to sell some gold temporarily. You have friction there. So that's the other reason I haven't sold gold, is you just get friction. And I can't think of anything else. Like, I don't want to sell my gold for more crypto. Everything has risk, and crypto has risks, right? Like, there are broad global internet risks that crypto comes with and could totally crash the price even if we survive, right? So I haven't been able to think of anything else that I would rather do than have gold. So I've just kept my gold. Excuse me, guys. Trying to get some coffee in my system. Just woke up. Okay, so yeah, gold still looking good though, like relatively good. There's no reason to sell it, I suppose. In fact, what we should do is take a look at stock market versus gold. So let's just go over here. Here's the S&P 500. Let's just do SPX divided by XAU USD, and we can see overall what's happening. Let's add some wave magic for some relative lines here. We'll even go to the monthly. Yeah. So actually, let's do it in reverse. XAU divided by SPX. We'll do SPX. Sorry, shortwave. I should have divided the other shitty, the fake asset by the real asset. I made a mistake. All right, so we can actually see that lately gold has just been outperforming the S&P 500 quite well, right? To the tune of 54% over the past, really since the beginning of the year. We're on the monthly chart, by the way. So, yeah, so gold has been outperforming quite significantly. Let's go to the weekly chart. And I don't know, maybe it's just gold's time, right? Maybe it's time for gold to I don't want to say shine, but all right, fine, whatever. So cliche. Maybe it's time for gold to significantly outperform the S&P for some period of time. Typically, we would look at these peaks and say, all right, that looks a lot like the last peak and they don't like this happening, but maybe there's nothing they can do about it, right? Russia's pissed and I don't know, maybe China's kind of pissed or something, and everyone else is pissed, so they've got their gold. I don't know, whatever. But S&P 500 and NASDAQ, they did make new all-time highs. We're on the daily chart here. This week, they put on new all-time highs. Again, this is unsurprising. Just expect this thing to continue marching higher with some dips here and there, sure, whatever. But there was nothing to be scared of through any of these other dips, and this thing is probably, at this point, it wouldn't even surprise me to get back into this range here, right? So this was the macro crash scare, you know, and now the stock market does this. Like, this is almost like a repeat of the 2008, like a tiny little, you know, mini fractal, whatever, of the 2008. Big fall off. Everyone's scared. Oh my God. And then it, you know, and then it's recovery, and it's steady recovery. And then it almost recovers the trend, and it stays on the low side of the trend for a little bit. And then, yay, something, Jay Powell lowers rates or something. And then, oh my God, it's so amazing, you know, and then it'll be another fall off at some point. So that's just kind of how stocks perform, right? I encourage you to go pour your eyeballs over the charts from previous times past, you know, from 2008. Look at the NASDAQ, look at the S&P. Like, for those of you that actually want to trade, there's no replacement. Like, I can't give you the tool. I can't show you the book. There is no replacement than you gaining an intuition, training your neural network on what charts, how they look like, what they do, how they perform. Every chart has its own unique types of characteristics, and you need to learn to interpret whatever technical analysis you're doing. You need to learn to interpret how that chart behaves relative to some particular technical analysis. And there's no way to do that other than to spend an inordinate amount of time in charts just looking at them. Or if you want to get algorithmic, then, you know, good on you. That's probably even better to do. And if you have those level of skills, then, you know, I would also encourage you to see if you can't contribute something to Monero, right? The Monero project. Right now, we need people to be reviewing countermeasures and trying to rack their brain around countermeasures, particularly if any of you out there have a true mind, if you're a college student or you've actually like studied engineering and math. We need someone to look at the entropy and information theory analysis of what is our theoretical best possible limit of defending a chain against selfish mining and 51% attacks, because we are leaving information on the table. We've talked about that, but if you have these kinds of skills, you also have those other kinds of skills, right? So anyways, yet I digress. Back to the charts. S&P 500 also put on a new all-time high. This thing is basically actually in, man, I swear that I saved these lines. Let's go to the weekly. I swear that I saved these lines. Maybe I only did it for the NASDAQ. All right, let's do this real time here on air. Yeah, so there's an extension. S&P 500 is already back in its zone. Extending that line. Yeah, S&P is already, as of the past couple of weeks, the S&P has recovered its channel, right? It's pleb line channel, if you will. Yeah, is that about right? I guess that's about right. You know, you're eyeballing something here. Again, this is where it's like, all right, is this the art form of chart analysis, or is this the art form of bullshit? You know, right? I think this line makes a lot of sense right here. It's a good reference point. It's not entirely prescriptive, but it's not entirely not prescriptive. So, all right, whatever. Again, expect this thing to stay in its channel, right? This thing is now occupying a very solid channel. And we'll start looking at these purple lines here as well to ask ourselves, you know, can this thing keep going? And the answer is yes, it can. All right, let's look at some of the other macro stuff. We had some inflation numbers. I don't think any of this is too relevant unless we get some like major big spiky spikes of inflation. None of this really matters all that much. So we did have a little bit of an uptick, right? It's not a spiky spike. We had an uptick of the core inflation, which, you know, they said is going to be sticky, but 3%, you know, even relative to their fake juiced, not natty numbers for the economy, this is relatively okay, right? Like, this is fine. They only fake juice them slowly, so they typically don't make massive changes all at once. So you can at least ask yourself, how is inflation performing relative to how it was performing previously, even if you don't have good absolute numbers like shadow stats might try and estimate. But overall, you know, total inflation still, you know, 2.7, right? This is historically fine now. We are now in the historically, this is fine without any actual fire. We're historically in a fine moment here. As long as this thing don't spike again, it's fine. We're just trying to say, hey, you know, we don't want to see any major weird stuff happening. Civilian unemployment, like we talked about last week, it has this uptick, and a new spike here will renew the fears, right? Next month, we're gonna have to wait 4 weeks, but if we get a new spike up, that's gonna start to look suspicious, right? And that will renew fears once again. we still probably won't exit the markets at that point, even if we do get another spike, because we're going to have to weigh that against the rest of the macro. Is the rest of the macro following up and showing us the same thing, right? You don't want to make one chart, one decision, unless you have set it ahead of time, like we did with oil. Remember, we actually set oil ahead of time. We said, no, we expect this to be our alpha. So when this crashed solo early, we said, hey, this is our signal, right? But we had set up that criteria ahead of time. We didn't do it ad hoc after the fact, right? Doesn't mean that like ad hoc after the fact stuff can be good, just post facto justification can be correct, but it's stronger to identify it early on, because that way you can take your emotional predilections out of the equation, which is often an important thing. And I honestly, guys, I still find myself, I feel emotional about the markets sometimes. Like I do find myself having to wrestle against my own emotions, even after all this time, even knowing that my emotions can sometimes be a counter signal. Anyways, okay, so let's look at bonds. Oh, do I not have bonds pulled up? God, that's how boring bonds are. Bonds are so boring that I never even look at them anymore. I do, but I look at them like once a week because we're just not at the moment, right, that we need to worry that the bottom's about to fall out. We're not there yet. So it's we could look at this safely once a week and not worry about that we've missed something. So that will change at some point, right? If we start to see the other signals start to flash at us, give us the early warning signs, and we'll start looking at bonds every day. Obviously not on the show here because we don't have the show every day, but obviously the all of me will be looking at this every day, and hopefully all of you should be looking at this every day when the time comes. But for now, it's not. Again, this thing will crater, right? Jay Powell will start lowering rates. We'll see something like this, and then the bonds will be like, oh my God, everyone's going to flee into the safety of bonds because they'll see what's coming, even as the market looks exuberant, right? But okay, let's see. High option adjusted credit spreads, yada, yada. Nothing to see here. Yeah, nothing to see here. This is stable, right? The point with credit spreads is that when things are good, everyone believes that corporations won't go bankrupt, and so they're willing to accept the tiniest little percentage above the federal rates, right, above the federal bonds. But when things are bad, everyone expects corporations to go bankrupt. So if you want to borrow money, if you want to issue bonds as a corporation, then you got to pay significantly higher interest to get that money. So that's what the credit spread chart is. It's kind of really the credit spreads now pump with market turmoil, so we can't even use this as a leading signal, but we can use it as a corroborating signal. So, and what is it corroborating? Everything's fine, macro stable. So it corroborates gains. That's what it corroborates. So let's take a look at the Monero transactions per day. Nothing to see here. 25,000 stable, and we can also take a look at the hash rate, the mining difficulty. Let's just look at the hashes per second. So giga hashes have come down, guys. I don't know what's going on here, but it seems interesting because Cubic has kind of fallen off the wayside lately, right? We haven't heard much from them. They haven't done too many reorgs the past week or so. That's good, right? Maybe it's a little bit of a breather where we can say, okay, they did some stuff. It was a nuisance. It was slightly above nuisance, right? They were moderate, minimal network disruptions. We were getting close to that 10 block reorg, right? And that's kind of like, that's where you start saying that's not good, right? So a little bit of breather room there, but we shouldn't assume that this problem is over or gone. This problem could come back, right? We need to assume that they've probably got a round two somewhere in there. Let's just say that, let's make a future prediction and say that round two of major attack could come at the top of the market, right? So if we see major price spikes to the upside, and then we see Monero not spiking with the rest of the market for some odd reason, and everything is irrationally exuberant, even as like the macro stuff is starting to turn negative again, and then we see Cubic return with their attacks, that'll be a sign to us, actually, guys, that we're getting close to a market top. Like that's the kind of, right? Don't take that as like gospel or anything, but that's the kind of stuff that I would be looking for, to ask myself, hey, could this be a market top? So right now, Cubic doesn't seem to be a thing as of the past week or so, but don't think that they're not there. They could return. So, okay. But anyways, yeah, the giga hashes have fallen back down to like 4 or 4.5. So that's interesting. I guess maybe Cubic brought along some significant portion of their hash, or maybe they have taken maybe they've taken a significant portion of the CPU hash rate to go mine some other shitcoins, right? Maybe they're out there mining some other shitcoins, CPU shitcoins at this point. I regard every single CPU shitcoin that is not merge mined with Monero to be an attack on Monero. It's just that simple. None of those coins are worth anything. None of them matter. There's no reason to have done that. They could have gotten better security for their chain by merge mining with Monero, and we all could have benefited. So if they launched a RandomX coin, not merge mine with Monero, as far as I'm concerned, they're nefarious. Like they're probably it's probably the cabal, doing their fucking shitcoin cabal thing, right? Anyways, whatever. I don't need to speculate too far on that. But yeah, our hash rate has come down a little bit. Okay, whatever. Still salute to everyone out there who turned on their CPUs. And with that, I don't think there's really anything else here to look at, guys. I think we've covered just about everything. So, Doug and Shortwave.
Alrighty.
My investing strategy is fiat cost average. Just buy Monero every single month, just little bits at a time. Just doop 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 doop.
Yeah, I mean, for the past couple months, if you've been buying at these levels, any further price gains here is going to spell, that's going to spell profits for you.
Nobody can say that they missed out, never had the opportunity to acquire Monero, right? Like nobody be like, I discovered Monero, but I just didn't have the money at the time. Like Monero has been available at rock bottom prices, accumulation prices for a very long time. So I hope everybody's been taking advantage of it, because at some point those days are going to end and it'll be glorious. But I mean, right, Bawdy? I mean, do you agree? Like we've had a great opportunities here to accumulate over the years.
Oh yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Right. I mean, I remember when Bitcoin dipped down to like $300-$200 in 2014 after Mt. Gox. And I was like, wow, what a great opportunity. I feel like with Monero, the opportunity's been sitting there for years, for literally years at accumulation prices. So,
bro, what's funny is I had no idea about Mt. Gox or any of that shit. Somewhere in 2015, I was like, "Oh, we got this Bitcoin thing. You should buy some Bitcoin. Let me get on Linux."
yeah.
I was a Windows guy.
Yeah.
A lot of it too is in 2012. I just saw 2008, and then again in 2012. I actually participated in the political process in 2012, and I saw what they did to Ron Paul, and I was like,
"Yes,
dude, fuck this!" I was just so disillusioned at that point. I was like, this is never going to change anything. I went to the Texas State Convention. I was actually a delegate to the Republican Party. And I literally left on Saturday, before we voted for anything, just watching everything. I was so disgusted. I just didn't even want to be there. I fucking left. I drove back to Austin. I was like, nah, I'm not even going to finish this stupid thing. This changes nothing. And then I just forgot about all of it. I said, fuck it. I'm not going to even, I just completely withdrew from politics and alternative everything.
Did you discover Bitcoin through that network? Because a lot of those guys were into, came to Bitcoin early, like the Ron Paul crowd.
Not a single person when I was there in that in that whole process mentioned Bitcoin. I mean, I wasn't super duper involved. Don't get me wrong. I participated in the process. We had, bro, it was weird. We had our county convention ended in the fucking parking garage. We ended at 12 p.m. in the parking garage because this lawyer named Bill Crocker had booked his church to conduct what he knew was going to be a contested assembly. And we effectively we lost the church at time X. I don't know. They had to clean or something. It was very weird. There's nothing happening here, guys. We could stay here in the church. And well, we've got to leave now. And it's what are you kidding me? So we finished in the parking garage. The whole thing was just, it's a clusterfuck.
Yeah, when you see how the sausage gets made, it's even more of a turnoff, the whole political system. But
yeah.
You can either hit your head against a brick wall or you can go around it. I prefer to go around it.
It was honestly the best thing for me. I saw it in real life and I said, fuck it, I'm out. And during that time that I was completely away from politics, I was just that's when I became an anarchist. Formally in my philosophy, my own thinking led me there. I said, man, do we actually need the government for anything? So, and actually, it was kind of a merger of communism and capitalism, because I had done some research on what communism seeks to be, right? The ideology of what they want to be, as a, not considering the tenets of Marxism, just the more broad philosophy. And I said, they're actually the same thing. Communism and capitalism. There's two sides of the same coin, and it's just like local grassroots organization. And in reality, we wouldn't need the government for anything. Like, we don't, like, why do we need it for even the stuff I thought we did? And so I was like, well, shit, I guess I'm an anarchist. And I said it very quietly to myself, and I didn't tell anybody, because I was like, God damn, I better not tell anybody this. Like, and then come to find out everyone else was also an anarchist. I was like, oh, well, this is good.
I ran for Congress as an anarchist.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute. Supported by the Republican Party. They're like, wait a minute. What do you mean you're an anarchist?
In the closet.
I don't know. It's all. Listen, I'm not ready to say press the button and government goes away tomorrow. Obviously, I'm practical, right? I want to reduce the nation state's power as much as we practically can, without causing mass chaos, right?
Yeah.
Monero is the peaceful way to do it. It really is the peaceful way to do it, right? We're just building our little economy outside of yours.
I think everybody has to take a risk at some point, though. Like, for the past 15 years, cryptocurrency has proven to us that it's not enough just to hodl. Hodl is not going to save the world.
No, you got to use it. You got to live off of it. You got to create an economy for it.
Yeah. I mean, that's
right?
true.
I mean,
you also need that. But at some point, you have to disobey. Like, no nation has ever gained freedom that did not disobey its government. Or I shouldn't say nation. No people has ever gained freedom and increased their freedom without disobeying their masters, their alleged would-be masters. Like, you're going to have to take a personal risk at some point. Not you. I just mean the general you.
Yeah, well, I already am.
Yeah.
I'd argue I'm sitting here in New York.
Tell us more, fucker.
the pro Monero, like the face of Monero sitting here in New York. Like, I think it's a little bit of a risk, but I hear what you're saying. But I think what the good thing with Monero, the current state of it is you can essentially abide by the rules for the most part and just use it and live off of it, right? It's not. I do think maybe that might change, right? We might see where you have to even be more of an anarchist, right, and ignore the rules. That might happen at some point. But so far in the U.S., we've been okay. I don't know if you saw the new. Did you see the Rage article? I think we'll get to it in the news.
Yes, I did see that.
Yeah. That apparently they want to expand the Patriot Act to include the ability to surveil crypto and like prevent the use of crypto privacy tools. So they wouldn't even have to pass legislation. Basically, Treasury Department will be able to just kind of implement this overnight under the Patriot Act. Wild if that happens. Imagine oh my God. Obviously, Bawdy's like, yeah, I'm not surprised, but
yeah,
this could happen. And this could be what we're.
I'm not big on the Rage anymore, guys. I'm gonna be really honest with you. Like, it's not that they report false things. I'm just like, they're
amazing.
I don't like their handling of the whole. I don't like the way that they handled the trials recently.
The Tornado Cat. Which one?
Yeah, the Tornado Cash and Samurai trials.
The Samurai.
Yeah.
Okay. Why?
I think that I saw a bunch of lawyers talking about lawyer shit, and I didn't see any of them. Like, there was analysis that was to be had there, and a lot of that analysis was pro Monero, but I hardly ever see them mention Monero. They just focus on these other protocols, and they're like, I'm not saying that I like the money laundering paradigm. It's a bullshit law, but like there was an analysis to be had there that they didn't have, and everything was just so polished, and I don't know. Listen, it's better that we have them out there. I don't know. Just be careful about the rage and the outrage.
Okay. Lola Elites participated in Monerotopia last year remotely. That was freaking awesome.
No, I mean, I follow Lola. She's
obviously very skilled in their ability to do the research. They're impressive in that respect. I don't know if you're suggesting there's some like potential ulterior motive there. They may not
No,
be
I
like,
don't. I don't
know.
think I would suggest that. I can see why they would like cure like the things that I hear the lawyers say for in that realm of the privacy trials.
Well, listen, because they're being careful, right? They're not. Yes, these people are not true anarchists, right? They're part of the system. I'm not saying little elites, but like some of these lawyers that I think you're referencing, right? They get paid. They get paid to do this, and they don't want to, and they probably live in New York, right? They're not like they have a good life. They're not in it for perhaps the revolution on the deepest level as we are, right? So
I mean, it's not. I don't even think in those terms, bro. Like that's not even the terms I think in. I'm not like, oh, I'm here for the revolution and the deepest, most purest form of the philosophically pure revolution. Like, no, it's honestly, I don't. That's not. That
my point is maybe they're just being careful. They don't want to get in. They don't want to get in trouble. They don't want to push the envelope too much.
I mean, what they're probably doing is framing the narrative in the best possible positive light for Tornado Cash and Samurai, and in doing so, they kind of have to ignore Monero. But I mean, when I listen to them talk, I'm like, man, this is a heavily curated, front-facing narrative type of interaction happening here. That I know that there's got to be things that they're thinking that they're not sharing. Like, there's a lot of genuine stuff to be shared, and I understand it, and maybe I can't even say I wouldn't do the same thing if I was a lawyer in their same position. But my heart, when I listen to that stuff, my heart immediately says, stop. Something's wrong here. Because I can feel the level of, like, there's a level of people, when people are forthright and they're truly sharing what they really think at a core level, there's like this rawness to their expression, and you can feel it. Like your heart knows that's what's happening. And then when there's like this sort of publicly front-facing, mildly, I'm not calling them sociopaths, but it's like this sociopathic kind of way of engaging, which is very guarded and very careful. And you see those things, your heart immediately, at least my heart, stops and like freezes up and says, "This doesn't feel right." And I understand why it happens, but
this is why you like Nick Fuentes. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know, man. I don't know. I've been watching him for a couple of months. Obviously, I've heard about him over the years, right? But I only started tuning in maybe for like 4 months, like trying to really. So I haven't watched his arc. Like I want to go back and watch his earlier videos, but from where I watch, I do feel like he's taking a step back in terms of how extreme he is. Right, he's even noting, like, listen, really trying to clarify that he loves all types of people and whatnot. Like, was he always like that? Was that always, and with the really focusing on his Christian values? Was that I don't know him, so was he always like that from the early days? Has he been consistent?
I have no idea. I don't listen to Nick Fuentes, and I only recently, I've had some people ask me about him, and then with our lovable, mildly racist cousins on,
listen, he's extremely talented. A lot of his takes align with ours, right? He's very, cognizant of the surveillance state thing, whether who's doing it or whatnot. But, he's on top of the whole Palantir and how it's, essentially running the White House, all those views. But yeah, he's an extreme nationalist at the end of the day. But it's certainly interesting to get his take on world affairs as they happen. Like, and he does it in a very entertaining way. He's extremely good orator. Like he just talks seamlessly. Very very capable speaker and entertaining, funny at the same time, constantly trolling. So it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see where he goes. I do feel, like I said, but I don't know him well enough to know his true arc, like what he was like in the early days, like if he's like being hypocritical. But I do feel like, I think what he's trying to do is trying to broaden his tent, right? He's trying to bring more people into his tent. So I think by way of doing that, he's becoming less edgy. Believe it. I don't know. That's my take on him, but I don't know him well enough.
Yeah, I mean, he's a young guy as well, so
yeah, he's learning as he's going, right? His views are changing, but I could see him really trying to kind of bring the people in, be like, listen, I love all types of people, I'm not looking to offend anybody. I think he's really trying to push that for growing, which is understandable. He wants to grow his base, but there might be some hypocrisy there. I don't know.
I mean, I almost shared a video of his recently. So, like, here's the thing: it's hilarious and fun to be racist and edgy, like especially with your bros. Like, I think we all basically do that. Maybe not all of us. You know, some people are still like kind of like have their asshole still tight from being in school or something, and everyone telling them about, you know, you can't say certain things, etc. You know, and some people have like it's just fun to do that, and some people have kind of made a brand on doing that, right? Like, I even have like some Jewish friends that I just cut up with, and we like make stupid jokes, right? And like nobody cares. But so it seems like Nick Fuentes is kind of like a bro, you know, and he's very intelligent, and he has a lot of like reasonable takes, and he expressed the thing that a lot of us like that had to happen, where it's like, all right, there's differences, you know, amongst the races of the world, and we weren't allowed to talk about them. So let's be edgy about it now, and let's really talk about them. But I think he's genuine because he, you know, if you really look at it, if you're like a follower of Christ, which you know he's supposed to be, it's hard to say, well, you know, I can't just trash, you know, minorities, you know, too much and etc. So I think it makes a lot of sense that he.
Well, no, but that's where I see the hypocrisy,
it
right?
makes a lot
like
of sense that he would actually maybe turn a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost posted a video where he was like, "Listen, guys, you know, like when I say I hate the Jews, you know, he doesn't even say he hates the Jews. That's not what because he talks about not having hate in your heart. But he says when the problem with the Jews, etc. I'm not talking about all Jews, like, you know." And so he kind of explains himself, and he tries to sort of pull people back from the edge. And I almost posted it, but I'm really trying not to fan the flames of that whole conflict that happened a few months ago. And actually, it's kind of died out, which is great. That's what I wanted to happen. I don't want to have conflict with those guys. We agree on, you know, on a lot of stuff. Tux is almost like has a foot in both camps, you know. So it's like, you know, Tux gets it. Like he's, you know, we're like, I'm not here to be enemies with Monero, Maverick, or any of those guys because we agree on a lot of stuff. So I felt like
just a waste of time too.
It is exactly like
well, but that's not
yeah.
Without getting into that too much, but it does feel like they were the one trying to waste our time. That was the big problem with it. It felt like
no. They were just making noise, and they have a general world viewpoint, you know, and they want to push it, and I understand. And all I wanted to do by fanning that flame for a brief moment was to say, hey guys, let's publicly state Monero is not about like this thing, you know, like nationalism or racism or, you know, pro-Hitler.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna give him a pass though, man. Dude, he's to this day very disruptive, attacking Cake Wallet, attacking, you know, it's how is that helping? Yeah, sure.
I actually think it's great.
Go be a nationalist. What?
I think it's great. I know that sounds counterintuitive. I love Cake and I love Vic, and I love the work that they do. Thank God that we have a solid mobile option. But I think it's great, man. Let's have some minority.
What is Unstoppable Wallet? Is that a good wallet? I don't know. So
I think it's great because I think it's great because let's not be monolithic in our community. Sure, let's have some minority people out there that are causing problems.
All for the different views, but it seems like he's attacking the community itself. So I don't see how that's productive. Like, competition is good, but
it's not a serious attack. Like if you bro, stop regarding that as an attack that's actually harming us. It's helping us. It like you don't want a monolithic community. Like if there's some guys that you're like, yeah, there's some like nationalists that are in Monero, you know, I would welcome if there was like some, I don't know, trans leftist whatever that were in Monero, and if they were attacking us.
I'm not saying the type of people. I'm saying the attacks. That's what I'm saying. Man.
I don't
let all the types of people say all the things they want to say for their causes.
I regard it as conflict. I don't see it as an attack. I see it as conflict, and as long as it's like low level, means nothing conflict. Like it's not even. Bro, it's
dude. I mean, it's to the point where like
they don't even.
Yeah, but when you get to the point where like what Seth has him blocked, right? Like I don't know. Do you have him blocked? I have
a lot of those guys blocked, but not
right.
Maverick,
So like
I
don't see how that's
open potential for communication if he wants to like be mature and have a conversation.
Right. If he wants to be mature and have conversation, which he does, I'm saying he doesn't. That's what I'm saying. That's disruptive. I'm not talking about his views, his nationalism. I'm talking about his disruptive nature, where he's just like he turns on. I mean, all right. I guess we disagree there. I don't know. It's like it's not good that like Seth like feels, you know, that he has to block this guy, and that like, you know, if certain things are said, he's gonna get attacked. It's just like I don't see that as being productive. Like if we were all in a room together and we were like part of some Congress and we're trying to agree on things, taking that approach isn't productive towards reaching consensus. So
let's suppose that we were, you and me and a couple other people were in a room, and like there was a 13-year-old like trying to cause problems. Would we say that was an attack on us, or would we be like, no, this kid is causing problems? Like it's
we'd say, go sit in the other room. We're trying to get shit done, and then that's it. Sorry, man. Unless you can't. Yeah,
I'm just saying that.
It'd be disruptive.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm just saying, like the mentality of considering it a quote unquote attack elevates it to a level that it doesn't deserve to be. So like it's a reframing in your own mind. Like, all right, it's like Cubic. Cubic was a nuisance, and then they were like mildly disruptive for a period of time, but sure, okay, they were an attack, and there was actually a real threat with Cubic that maybe they could launch a bigger attack, especially if they were able to get their hands on more resources. So it's not a great comparison, but it's all I'm saying is that it's a reframing in your own mind, right? It's a reframing that says, hey,
yeah, no, I get you, man. It's like it exists, it's there, let's embrace it. It's helping to grow Monero in its own way, right? It's the free and open market. It's a part of it.
Yeah.
No, I get that. It's a sign of growth, right? Too, because we have these other influences that are there. So yeah, no, I see all the positives. I just think things would be better if we're all rowing on the ship together, right? We're all going to war here. He's in one battleship, we're in another. It'd be nice if we could communicate a little better and it's not disruptive and he's trying to fuck up the other battleships that are headed on their way. Like
I'm more concerned about having a monolithic culture that has culty vibes than I am about I would prefer to have some like little edge, some disagreement at the edges. I would prefer to have some. I really would like to get some leftists up in Monero that like kind of hate in some ways some of the things that I would like that. I would relish that. That would be such a good thing. I don't want a monolithic culture. Money is not about like let's all join the revolution.
You're avoiding, because I know you're very accurate. So I find you're avoiding that's not my issue, right? It's not the cultures. It's not whether you're a nationalist or an anarchist or you're a leftist or you're a rightist. It's the way he's going about things. He could have been some left guy with some left-wing extremism, right? It's the way he's going about it and attacking the existing people, the good people in the space, the projects. I don't see that aspect as productive. I don't care if he was left-wing, right-wing, whatever he may be. That's the portion of it. And he's gained a lot of following, right? And using that large following to cause disruption on good people and projects.
But what has actually been disrupted? That's what I'm failing to understand. Like, what project has slowed down because Monero said some things on Twitter? I don't get it. Like, where is the disruption?
I guess, yeah, he's not having an effect then. So you don't think he has an effect. So that's all right.
I think the only effect is that it shows like, yeah, there's.
I mean, it's unfortunate that you have people like Seth that are blocking him. Now they're blocking each. It's just not good for consensus, working together, right? I understand ultimately there's going to be differences, but it's nice to build cohesion for a common cause, right? I want Seth working with him. I want him on the show, right? I want him to be up here, like we're working together. Like those are the types of environments I want, where everybody's working together and helping each other out. And it's like,
so when
it gets to the point where like, how can you do that if at the same time you're telling these people, go F yourself? Like,
so when somebody blocks somebody, it's not that they don't hear from that person. It's that they hear from that person through another person who's less extreme in their views. So Seth might block Maverick. Okay, fine. But Seth doesn't block everybody. So that means that he's still going to hear Maverick's general point of view through people who aren't as extreme as Maverick.
Yeah. It's not, yeah. But my overall point has nothing to do with his, political philosophy. It's the attacking our own people. I get what Bawdy's saying. He's not having an effect. I do. I think he does. I think, I think it'd be better if we had a little bit, we were a little bit more aligned at times.
I'll tell you, not being on X, I have not seen this at all. Like, this is very confined to
I think
X.
it's died down and it's fine, like that's good. That's the best that could happen. Ignore it, let it be. Hope that he brings in more and more Monero people. And then I think, he's going to change as he does it too, because he's going to realize that if he wants to participate with the broader community, if he wants to get sponsors, things like that, he may have to change his ways a bit. So that will naturally happen anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to see people use Monero, bro. Like, I think people will adopt it and use it naturally. I think the slow roll organic growth is like, that's what has to happen. We've had 10 years now, right? It's been 10 years. If we were going to have the sudden mass adoption, it would have happened already. So we just have to accept where we're at and not make any qualms about it and say, all right, we just need to continue making it a better currency, a better money, and then just slowly get people using it. There's no other way.
The slow roll organic growth is why we actually are doing better than Bitcoin and not crashing 80% plus in prices and stuff like that, not shooting up extremely and not dropping extremely, different things like that. It's just a little bit at a time, just up, just slow.
Yep.
Would you rather be the tortoise or the hare?
And we do that by things like, hey, everybody use XMR Bazaar, not like, hey, I used to tell people to use that, but now I'm pissed at it because, I don't like the views of the guy who runs it. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, let's work together, guys. Or, yeah, sure, go build competing products. But then I guess it's just, I don't think that's the best way to run a business. Or to get involved with the community. I think it's better to what's the expression? To work with honey as opposed to vinegar, right?
You are in an interesting position because you have produced real products. Like XMR Bazaar is a real thing that people should use and adopt. But you also have a podcast, that's you do a pretty good job of, not being super opinionated, but it's impossible. It's impossible to have a.
We need to move on. Tony has to leave pretty shortly.
Okay. All right,
I'll finish this and then we'll. So you have a podcast. It's impossible to have a podcast, a long running podcast with long running content. Whether that be in one day or over the course of years, and not like convey some level of your opinion. And any opinion is going to piss somebody off eventually. And so you're kind of in this position where it's like you release real products, and that's why you see guys like Vic. They really maintain a limited exposure to the social realm, and they focus solely on Cake Wallet because they don't want to create that that negative impression. That's kind of like, it's almost like the lawyer thing we were talking about, but Vic doesn't act like that. His personality is different. You feel like a genuineness coming from him, but it's still that same kind of corporate thing where it's like, if you're promoting a product, it's hard. It's harder to promote it because you'll lose some groups of people on, the basis of an opinion.
100%.
But fuck it, we're still going to win.
Yeah. When shit hits the fan, we're all going to be working together. We saw with the Cubic, everybody does get on board, so it's nice to see. MC tipped 3 cents. Do you think how Nepal has responded to their government taking away social media is an effective approach? Honestly, I have been following that situation too well. That's pretty wild. So they've banned all social media.
That's in the news.
Okay, good. We say no to political violence here, juxtaposed next to these uprisings in other countries actually working for them. Are we too docile or better ways?
Why don't we say it this way? There's a difference between the kind of violence and the direction that apparently, and I don't know, taking it at face value, the violence that the people from Nepal push, that they engaged in, is categorically different than the kind of violence that you saw with Charlie Kirk. Those are different things.
It only happened after the police fired on civilians.
Yeah, so I mean, it's obvious what I'm saying. You can make your own conclusions there.
Another one, Quadrio Chalata tipped 29 cents. People on the left seem to dislike crypto in general. Mastodon community generally dislikes. Thoughts on wealth inequality with a larger user base in crypto, specifically XMR.
Yeah, they were able to pull a fast one. They did the same divide and conquer strategy with crypto. They got all the suits involved into the crypto ecosystem. They made it private degeneracy and private, theft and fraud, so that the caricature libertarian said, "I love crypto. Why? Because it makes me super rich like Monopoly Man." And all the leftists were like, "No, you're taking advantage of the people." Right? They just made that dividing line. So they successfully pulled that off. Not 100%, but
Then Kevin Tip 29 cents asking, do you support Bitcoin Core or Bitcoin Knots? I don't have it. I don't know enough about those.
Neither.
Neither.
Seth made a
I
good
support
post.
Monero.
Bitcoin. Listen, I wouldn't run Knots just because the guy that is in charge of that project is fucking weird. Like, I mean, you can't trust. Is
that Voxel? Vaxel? What's the guy's name?
No, that's Luke Jess Jr.
He's the Knots. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's the cat eater. He's the guy that got pwned for 200 Bitcoin on his server that wasn't protected.
Yeah.
Like, whether philosophically you agree with what he's trying to accomplish or not, don't run Knots because that guy he cannot be trusted for security in the slightest. And then he's talking to the FBI and trying to get the FBI against his like enemies or some shit. It's like, dude, are you kidding me? Like, I don't support Bitcoin Core either, but I wouldn't run Knots.
I honestly stopped following the Bitcoin drama.
If they were really concerned about the problem that they claim to be concerned about, they would hard fork. But they're not going to do that because the number won't go up.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Let's move it along. We got Tony patiently waiting. Bawdy, thank you so much, man. Obviously, stick around if you can. Once again, if anybody wants to jump up, be a special guest, send us a message or just join the chat. I'll put the link in the chat to join behind screen. But yeah, let's go ahead. Let's move it to news. First, I'm going to play a quick Monerotopia ad. I didn't show that yet today. Let me go ahead and things are ramping up with Monerotopia conference in February. We actually landed our top tier sponsors already, so we're super excited about that because that's gives us a lot of momentum, a lot of security to proceed to move forward with not feeling the risk. So we have our 3 top sponsors already. So now we'll move forward with confidence. So yeah, at this point, all we have to do is get more people involved, guys. That's how we're going to make this one bigger and better. So if you want to participate in any way, hit me up, Monerotopia@protonmail.com. Otherwise, just make your way down there, February 12th to the 15th. Make your way to Mexico City. Buy a ticket if you can, a general admission ticket, super cheap. If ticket is the problem, you can walk in for free. You just won't have access to the dome, but you can participate in the conference. You participate in the marketplace. You can hang out with everybody that's there, hang out at the workshops and whatnot. But obviously, if you can afford to buy a ticket, we ask that you do so. And if you want the full experience, buy the VIP ticket. A lot of people end up buying the VIP ticket because it gives you access to the dinner, and then obviously that helps us out a lot. So buy your ticket, grab a ticket, book a flight down there, get a hotel room, start making plans, start talking to other people, get more people involved. I'm getting more projects involved. I know there's always a lot of drama with the projects. I've just become more and more interested in getting more different privacy tech projects involved. I really do think a lot of magic comes out of that when we get more projects involved. It just makes the conference better. So I'll be working on that. And if you want to be a speaker, if you want to be a vendor, you could come down. We could basically, if you want to just come and sell something, you're some kind of startup, you don't really have a budget, we could find a spot for you to just set up. You want to be a speaker, you want to be a sponsor, you're a privacy tech project, you want to be a sponsor, you're an instant exchange that deals with Monero, you're some other company that deals with Monero, you want to get the word out a little bit and support the conference, reach out. Whatever it may be. Monerotopia@protonmail.com. So without further ado, let me play the quick ad.
Tendrás cenizo el pelo, pero serás más hermosa. En la Candelaria cuando llegará, en la Candelaria cuando llegará, en la Candelaria cuando llegará, cuando llegará, cuando llegará. En la Candelaria cuando llegará, en la Candelaria cuando llegará, en la Candelaria cuando llegará, cuando llegará, cuando llegará. En la Candelaria cuando llegará, en la Candelaria cuando llegará, en la Candelaria cuando llegará, cuando llegará, cuando llegará. En la Candelaria cuando llegará, en la Candelaria cuando llegará, en la Candelaria cuando llegará, cuando llegará, cuando llegará.
Alrighty.
And then go ahead and run the news segment.
Yeah, let me go ahead and run the news. Hold up. Okay, here we
The Monerotopia Weekly News segment is sponsored by WizardSwap.io, a non-custodial cryptocurrency exchange.
All right. Tony, what's up?
Hey, guys. Wait, yeah, there we go. Good. How are you guys doing?
Good, man. Good. Sorry for making you wait there a little bit.
It's okay.
Yeah, wait, I'm trying to bring up... why can't I bring you up? Oh, because Bawdy still has his thing up. Okay. There we go.
There we go.
How's it going, man? How you doing?
Good. This week was kind of crazy. So we have a lot of stuff to talk about. This was some crazy stuff too about Nepal. So I'm glad that somebody mentioned it because I'm going to talk about it. I guess we'll just get into it. So yeah, the first thing I'm going to talk about Nepal. And then, a bit of Charlie. We got a couple clips, and then Iryna. So yeah, the situation in Nepal is insane. Basically, what happened is my generation started to post on social media the lifestyle of the politicians and the lifestyle of their kids and all the vacations that they're taking and the Louis Vuittons and Gucci's and all the designer stuff that they're buying for themselves. Meanwhile, the people they're very poor. It's a pretty poor country. And in response, the politicians wanted to ban every single social media, Instagram, WhatsApp, YouTube, 26 social medias, everything. They wanted to ban absolutely everything. And then there were protests, and they said, okay, no, it's fine. We'll uplift the ban. But the police was violent and all these things. So this was the Nepalese government earlier this week. And this is how it looks today, which is it's just insane. So yeah, in case you can't see it, it's just burned down, and it's a pretty big building, and yeah, the people just burned down the whole governmental building and I think some hotels as well and things like that. So there's this, and then here's a video of protesters in Nepal. Pretty much beating the former prime minister. And then also there's a video of their finance minister getting beaten on the street as they're trying to flee for their life. So yeah, let's watch this video. I don't think they're beating him right now, but they definitely did beat him before. As you can see, he's pretty bloody. And yeah, they deserve it. When you keep a country poor and then you take it all for yourself, then you deserve this to happen to you. And then I've shared that video with the governmental building being burned down to some of my friends, well, also without context. And then they said some were sad about it. That's the thing. Why should you be sad? I'll be pretty happy with any governmental building burning down. But yeah, they definitely deserve it. And then what's crazy is that they all got on Discord, 10,000 plus people, something like that. They all got on Discord, in case you didn't know. All Nepalese people deciding the future of Nepal and who to get in after. And I think they elected a woman as a prime minister or something like that. But they did elect somebody on Discord. So I guess there were a couple people, that were allowed to speak, and then everybody else was just listening and voting. I don't know how the voting went, but that's crazy. And here is the Communist Party headquarters, and a Nepalese protester tearing down the hammer and sickle flag. So there he is, climbing up. Skip a little bit, and he took it down just like that. Yeah. So what a crazy situation. I'm happy for what they did, but then you also got to think that for sure outside countries like big powers, Russia, China, they're looking into this situation. They're thinking about how to exploit it, because usually, be it Romania or Hungary, whenever somebody took over after communism or after dictatorship and things like that, or bad situations, somebody came in, and it's doesn't mean that it's a good thing necessarily. Doesn't mean that, yeah, the country is going to be so much better. Happened in India, happened everywhere. People died, protested, and then they kind of put somebody else in power again. Now, I don't know whether that person that they put in power now is good or not, and I hope that their future is going to be better. But yeah, it happened, I think, during the day when Charlie got assassinated. And then what's also very cool is that, and I have a better video on somewhere else, but I can't bring it up here. But they're actually, the protesters, they're now cleaning the country, and there's a ton of people cleaning the.
This is one of the very prominent, famous icons of the old. To in fact get into action,
but yeah, people are cleaning up, old, young. They got a broom in their hand, and they're just cleaning up
everything that stood as a symbol of a system which the Gen Z or the young people.
Yeah. So in case you didn't know too much about this, and you just heard about the government building burning down, I think that's pretty much the whole situation. So I hope that they're going to be, better off from now on. But yeah, that's intense. I did not expect that. Then, yeah, just over quick, Iryna, in case you didn't hear, and I'm not going to play this video here because I don't know if we're going to get demoted from YouTube or something like that, or this video taken down. But, essentially she was killed. She was coming back from work in North or South Carolina, something like that. She escaped the war from Ukraine, came to the US, was working here, and she was in a train, something like that, and she was just killed by some guy behind her, which he should have been in jail forever, or at least killed, because he has done a lot of bad things. Like, he was convicted 14 times. 14 times convicted. That's absolutely crazy that he was still alive, and also just out and about and free. And I did see something about his mother saying that, he's schizophrenic and he was being violent with him and his dad, and then they tried to, seek help for him and stuff like that. But it's so unfortunate, and this made my stomach sick for the whole day, just seeing that, and especially seeing that video, and especially seeing that nobody did anything around. But I'm glad that somebody said that they're offering $500,000 in $10,000 grants to paint murals of her face in prominent US city locations, to not forget. And if, God forbid, something like that happens, act on it. Don't just sit and look. That's just horrible. And Elon Musk said he wants to contribute $1 million, and also Andrew Tate, if it's here, he said match $1 million. So yeah, a lot of violence, this one, and it happens every day. I mean, you hear about this one, but there's for sure something happening every single day. There's also school shooting, I think, in Colorado, I think, during the same time. It's just so sickening. But yeah, we got to cover a bit of politics, because that's what we are going against, right, with the whole Monero movement. So yeah. Then, okay, there's this one too. The judge who released Iryna's killer did not have a law degree. I don't know what to say about this one. I will play a little bit. I saw online, and I think Trump said that he deserves to be just killed. So I guess let's watch a minute of this, and then we're going to Charlie Kirk a bit, and then we'll go into a bunch of Monero stuff. And then also chat control. That's interesting too, because we did talk about chat control in Europe. So I do have some updates on that as well, and some nice graphs. So that's going to be cool.
Here's Mayor Andy Shore. Stop by Wing Heaven Sports Haven for lunch. The opportunity to meet the new owners, Teresa and Iryna. Check out the new Sober Wings Bar at Martin Luther King Boulevard for wonderful food and atmosphere. House of Manifestation prevents independence at Wing Haven, MLK Boulevard. drag show, 1 free hookah and fireworks included. So this was going on back in Lansing, Michigan. So they're having drag. Look at it. Notice how it's.
I'm going to skip a little bit.
Advocacy for federal second. These reentry initiatives are commonly described as second chance services. And
actually, I forgot where it was exactly, but
over the heart of the
okay, I forgot where it is exactly, but anyway, yeah, I don't know what to say about the judge situation. I've read some from other sources that he's not released and that he he might just be killed. I don't know, but anyway, so moving on. We have also on Epstein files. We have 217 of the 218 signatures required. So we just need one more congressman to sign the discharge petition in order to force a vote in the House on a bill to release the Epstein files. And let's see. Actually, let's take a break from this stuff. We'll go back to Charlie Kirk. Let's just talk a bit about Monero, and then we'll go back to Charlie. So Kraken withdrawals suspended in USA. Somebody posted on Reddit. I was fine to withdraw 2 days ago. I'm wondering if Kraken is doing this as a temporary thing because of the recent attack on Monero, or do you guys think it is a permanent thing? I'd legit just move to Kraken because they're one of the exchanges that actually have Monero, and now this happens. And then somebody posted in the comment section that Kraken is likely affected by a bug in the wallet software. The XMR developers are currently investigating the issue and will release a new version once the issue has been resolved. Fiat Demise posted about this situation on X of Monero withdrawals from US Kraken are working again. That was on the 11th of September, a couple of days ago. And today, Kraken US is saying this: deposits and withdrawals may function at times, but are subject to being paused without prior notice. Kraken may halt deposits and withdrawals at any time and delay crediting at its discretion. So again, please, if you're gonna use a CEX centralized exchange, put your money in, get the Monero, and just get it out. Don't leave it there. Why would you leave it there? Just get it out. Put it somewhere else. Because who knows when you're going to be able to withdraw it. And if you use somebody else, not Kraken, maybe you won't be able to withdraw it. I don't know. But yeah, just be careful. If you're going to use it, put it in, take it out, and that's it. Then this one is super, super big. Jeffro256 recently put forward a proposal to continue to work full-time on XMR development with focus on completing the Carrot and FCMP++ integration into the Monero code base, which is a huge, huge update. Carrot is huge. We talked about it on the show in the past. RB Runner posted about it on Reddit. So you have two or more big posts about Carrot and what it does. And it's really, really big. So I encourage you to go on Reddit. Just go type Reddit, Carrot, and Monero, and then read about it. It's super cool. It's just so exciting. It's going to piss a lot of fat boys and a lot of people that want to crack on it. But Vic donated 11 Monero. So please donate to Jeffro256 to make Monero stronger. BIP172 Maximalist wrote in the comments, I donated, but less than that, less than 11 XMR. But yeah, good. Yeah, so go ahead and donate to that, guys. And also, if you guys have any links or anything that you'd like to discuss or we'd like to discuss, you can post it on YouTube because I'm watching the YouTube comments as well. And give a like as well because that helps us. Like, share, subscribe. I just liked it because I didn't. So there we go. Now, Shopinbit stats. Privacy matters. Monero works. Monero leading Shopinbit stats. So let's take a look. Shopinbit stats of August 2025. Monero is at 65.79%. Top 1, Bitcoin, top 2, 31.37%, followed by USDT at just 1.7%. Fiat, nothing. Lightning is 0.2 something. It's nothing. So yeah, that's awesome statistics. Very cool. More dev stuff. This one is from Luke Parker, Kayaba Nerve. So happy to have worked on this and incredibly excited for it to offer such a bug bounty. This is from Sarai, and it's announcing the Monero Oxide, which is an independent shop in Monero, more like, right? Yeah, it's becoming like it. I gotta check the stats of the other competitors too, Coincards. Actually, let's do that now. Let me see if they posted their stats. Give me 1 second. Coincards, there we go. September, yeah, we do. Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, let's go to this and then we'll go back to Sarai. So these are the Coincard stats. It's not Monero cards yet. Bitcoin is at 35%, followed by XMR second, 27.5%, USDC third, Ethereum 7%. People use Zcash for this too, 0.8%, even Dogecoin, Lightning 6%, much bigger than 0.2%. But okay, so Coincards is second. Has it ever been number one on Coincards? I don't know. I think it's always been second or close second, something like that. I don't know if we got XMR to be top on Coincards. Maybe we did. I don't remember, but yeah, let's go back. Oh, wait. I just stopped my share screen. Hold on. Sorry. Okay. Hey, Shortwave or Doug, can you please put my screen up again?
Doug, you'll have to do it because I can't. Because I'm just a guest, just like Tony is.
Oh, there we go. Okay, thanks. Cool. Yeah, so Monero Oxide is an independent organization and set of audited Rust libraries for working with and signing Monero transactions, including an implementation of Frostlass, our efficient Frost-inspired threshold multi-signature protocol for XMR. So yeah, formerly known as Monero Sarai, whose audit by CipherStack was funded by the Monero community, the Monero Oxide organization will help ensure these libraries remain useful for the entire XMR community, and they're currently in use by both Sarai and Cuprate, a Rust Monero node. Cool stuff. A lot of cool stuff. Okay, let's talk about chat control. So US citizens have 3 days. That was September 8th. I guess we were supposed to have an answer this Friday, but I've checked online, and then I think we'll have one on October 14th. So this is huge, essentially, and I like this. You won't make me leave this 1984 shit. Let's go on here. Yeah, chat control is, I guess, the proposed solution in Europe so that they can spy on your WhatsApp and tell, all these chats and use it to find criminals, essentially. But it's not the solution, and it's just an excuse to spy on you, and it's going to create also a lot of false positives, and a lot of people will just get their police at the door for nothing because, I don't know, some memes, maybe there's just certain memes or talk about some stuff or joke, and then they get flagged, and then the police get sent. But it's just such a mess. And let's go over, because I do have some illustrations. So yeah, this is the current status of chat control, and so we have 306 parliament members in support, with 339 opposing and 73 undecided, with 1 missing data. So I wonder from the 73 if they're going to be bribed into voting for. And then we go to fightchatcontrol.eu, and this is a very nice website. So let's go at opposing, so we can see exactly who's opposing, which European country is supporting, and which one is undecided. Opposing is Austria, Belgium, Czech Republic, Finland, Germany, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Poland, Slovakia, and supporting Bulgaria, Croatia, Cyprus, Denmark, France, Hungary. I'm not surprised. Ireland, Italy, Latvia, Lithuania, Malta, Portugal, Spain, Sweden. Okay. And then we go to undecided countries on chat control. Estonia, Greece, Romania. Cool. I hope they're going to be opposing. Although, I don't know. I think they may be supporting with some very bad politicians. Except, I mean, the president is okay now, but whatever. And then Slovenia. And I assume that we will find out their decision on October 14th while everybody decides. But huge impact. Mass surveillance, breaking encryption, fundamental right. Undermines your fundamental rights to privacy and data protection as guaranteed by Article 7 and 8 of the EU Charter, rights considered core to European democratic values. Ineffective, false positives. So automated scanners routinely misidentify innocent content, such as vacation photos or private jokes, as illegal, putting ordinary people at risk of false accusations and damaging investigations, which that's going to be huge. I mean, we all send, sometimes some kind of jokes and memes that are questionable, but yeah. Then ineffective child protection experts and organizations, including the UN, warn that mass surveillance fails to prevent abuse and actually makes children less safe by weakening security for everyone and diverting resources from proven protective measures. Global precedent, creates a dangerous global precedent, enabling authoritarian governments citing EU policy to roll out intrusive surveillance at home, undermining privacy and free expression worldwide. Definitely, for sure. Like, look at the EU, look at the European Union. They've done it. Okay, so let's see how they're doing it. It seems to be effective. But the best thing that you can do is invest a lot in proper education. That's going to solve a lot of issues. Work on your economy, and then there'll be a lot less crimes with proper education, proper help to people that need help, things like that. But the police actually doing their job. That's another huge thing. Not just spying on everybody. It's just such a lazy way of fixing stuff. Now, this is from Fiat Demise. Okay, it's a budget Monero mining rig, which is inexpensive. It's not that expensive. Hash rate of 19,250. Power draw 142 watts. No more excuses. Start mining. And that's how it looks like. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, where was that posted? Is that X or what?
This one is on X. On
Okay.
the
I'm gonna have to take a look at that because that sounds interesting to me.
Yeah, he's even posting which one he bought on Newegg too. So he has a 16-core Ryzen 9. Nice. 32 gigs of RAM and 1 terabyte drive. So there we go. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so you can just go on Newegg. Yeah, so it's $607 if you want to look into it. And then he posted the components.
That's not bad. That might have to go on my wish list.
Nice. Right. That's pretty cool. Okay, now let's go back. We're going to go back, guys. A bit of Charlie Kirk. The guys talked about it in the beginning, so I'm not going to add too much. But what I'm going to say is that, it's just unfortunate that in today's world, it's 2025, we have so much access to information. Well, a lot of it is bad, but you do have access to information. If you have any question, you can just go look it up, and then we're still killing each other over politics, religion, and all these things. And hopefully one day it's going to stop. And yeah, we're not going to show, Charlie getting assassinated. Because again, I don't know, with YouTube and stuff. And I want you to also enjoy your weekend. But yeah, so let's watch a few videos on Charlie. So this one is from Spitfire. I've been going back and watching videos of Charlie debating with students. This particular debate left me in awe. What an incredibly knowledgeable man. Take a moment to witness and be inspired. I used to listen to Charlie a little bit, like 2017. And this has nothing to do with him, but I didn't like his views. I didn't listen to him, but obviously he didn't deserve to just get assassinated for his views. But yeah.
So I'm particularly concerned about your brand of Christianity. As a Christian myself, Christian nationalism, I do not agree with at all. I think it's antithetical to the values of the early church. And I think, how do you reconcile especially white Christians in this America, marrying politics and power with their faith in this country?
There's a lot there. I've never described myself as a Christian nationalist. So I'm a Christian and a nationalist, so I've never used those two.
And then right there, that and nationalist, where in the scriptures does a Christian...
Well, thank you. Jeremiah 29:7, demand the welfare of the nation that you are in, because your welfare is tied to your nation's welfare. Let me continue. Daniel fasted and prayed for his nation. Esther and Mordecai cared for their nation. They were counsel of the king.
Right.
Nehemiah, Jeremiah, Joseph, Jacob. I could keep on going. Moses, Aaron. In fact, Moses was so political that he wrote an entire book of the Torah all about how to set up a government. It's the book of Deuteronomy. So, in fact, the Bible is an explicitly political text amongst many other things.
Now, can we interpret those texts in the light of the revelation of Christ? Because you just cited all Old Testament texts. We have not once cited St. Paul.
Okay, yeah. If you want me to also, by the way, just so we are
St. Paul about the kingdom of heaven and the governance.
Just so we're clear, do you think that the New Testament is greater than the Old Testament?
It is. It is greater because the revelation of Christ dictates how we interpret the Old Testament.
So you think that all of a sudden, like Genesis 1 is not as great just because of the New Testament?
The Old Testament was a type and shadow of the things to come, and now we live in the full revelation of Christ.
Again, that
is by definition
that is such
lesser.
a dangerous theological.
That's not true. That's Christological theology.
Hold on. Of course, I believe in the resurrection, but to all of a sudden say that, like, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth is like somehow in like lesser because of the revelation of the New Testament. Christ even said, "I did not come to abolish the law of the prophets; I came to fulfill the law." In fact, he said all the laws of the prophet hang on the two teachings, Leviticus 19 and Deuteronomy 3-5. However, to use a New Testament example, as you asked, says in 1 Timothy, pray for your leaders and authority by name that they might make righteous and great decisions. I'm going to continue. Christ our Lord said, on this rock build my what?
Church.
Wrong. Ecclesia. It's not the word church.
Okay,
the word
English
church,
translations of Common Bible say church. So my bad.
well, actually, it shouldn't, because the original Greek term says, on this rock build my government structure. Ecclesia was a secular word used in that time, which was all about the advancement of freedom and liberty, which are the two words in Greek, eleutheria and isonomia, which are the two words there. So the point being, Christ called us to be salt and light. We as Christians should change the environment that we come in contact with. That's what salt and light do. So why should we then not care about changing government to be more Christ-like?
Okay. And then...
Say what you want about the guy, but very talented, right?
Yep, he knew a lot of stuff. And then what I want to say on that is, like, no matter what your beliefs are, always have an open mind. And we're battling, like with these kind of situations in crypto as well, like Bitcoin versus, let's say, Monero. And then usually Bitcoin Max is not listening to what we have to say. So always have an open mind, no matter what is being, discussed. And if you have attachment to your beliefs, then really look into why you are attached and why you can listen to the other person. That's a huge problem that we all have in the world. This one is from Erika Kirk. If you thought my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea. The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry. The movement my husband built will not die.
Husband's assassination, have no idea what they have done. They killed Charlie because he preached a message of patriotism, faith, and of God's merciful love. They should all know this. If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea. You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country. In this world, you have no idea. You have no idea the fire that you have ignited within this wife. The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry. To everyone listening tonight across America, the movement my husband built will not die. It won't. I refuse to let that happen. It will not die. All of us will refuse to let that happen. No one will ever forget my husband's name, and I will make sure of it. It will become stronger, bolder, louder, and greater than ever. My husband's mission will not end, not even for a moment. And one of Charlie's greatest talents was his ability, this phenomenal ability to choose great people to follow him.
Okay.
Powerful, though, right? I mean, that's going to be a video that is going to have a significant effect on the trajectory of this country. I do, you know, we are at a turning point. Seriously, I mean, things have really ramped up. I think that video actually was a battle cry. So this is gonna be interesting, guys. Things are gonna continue to ramp up here in the U.S.
I mean, his organization was called Turning Point, so.
I know.
Okay, I have 2 more videos on Charlie. This one is from the White House, in loving memory of Charlie Kirk, a fearless patriot and a man of unwavering faith who dedicated his life to America.
Only in America is it possible to say, you know what, I don't like the way the country is going, and to do something about it. Take that risk, take that leap of faith, stay involved, trust God, and act obediently. Romans 12:2 verse, that God will use all things for good for those who love him. It's bigger than you. I want you to remember that. It is bigger than you. It's bigger than me. You are here to make somebody else's life better, the pursuit of liberty and freedom. You know what gives me strength? The hundreds of thousands of you that say, Charlie, keep going.
1 Corinthians 5 and 15. So that's all pretty amazing evidence, not just intra-biblical evidence, but extra-biblical evidence that Jesus Christ was a real person. He lived a perfect life. He was crucified, died, and rose on the 3rd day, and he is Lord and God of all.
Okay.
He's becoming a deity, man. Yep, this was definitely a significant moment in America's history. Whatever you may think of it, it is absolutely significant. Edward McLean, I certainly disagree a whole lot with much of Charlie's politics and largely dismissed him because of it. This week I learned it was foolish of me to dismiss him completely. Absolutely, it's a good lesson to take away from this. Don't just assume you know somebody's take by hearing some of the clips, because often it's from those that are just trying to take somebody down, right? Once again, I have a lot to learn about. I don't know all his takes, but yeah, he's definitely talented, and like I said, he seems to be very principled and consistent in his views, and supportive of obviously a lot of positive values, right, given his Christian faith. So interesting character, interesting times we're living in, guys. I don't know what else to say about this, right? Like I think we said enough on the Charlie Kirk thing. Back to work with Monero.
Okay, do you want me to play this too, or do you want me to move on?
What was this one?
This one, it's on Epstein and.
Oh yeah, you could play this. I mean, this is kind of the broader conspiracy theory that's brewing out there, that he was starting to notice, and he was taken out by those that perhaps were connected to people like Epstein, right?
Okay, you want me to play the whole video?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Realize that Epstein, with his little friend Ghislaine and Ghislaine's father, Robert Maxwell, who was obviously a spy of the Israeli intelligence agencies, that there was something else going on here. Epstein was not some sort of whiz kid hedge fund manager. Epstein was playing a part. Epstein was a LARPer. Epstein was cast for a specific role, and he played it really well. The sweatpants and the Harvard jacket, the kind of disheveled hair, looking as if he was so smart and above the clouds that he was doing advanced mathematic equations on the back of napkins. But if you actually go into some of the videos of people that met with Epstein at the time, they said he was awfully unimpressive when it came to finance and markets and economics. And it's nothing new that if you're in the intel agencies, you want to try and get as much blackmail on powerful people as possible. Easy, not hard. And this is no longer just speculation. First of all, the evidence that shows that Epstein was a creation of either Mossad, Israeli intelligence, American intelligence, Saudi intelligence, or maybe he was just a hired gun. Maybe he was just the guy that countries would go to and park a couple $100 million and say, hey, can you get one of the members of the royal family with a 13-year-old so we can get them to do what we want to do? Members of Congress are actively being blackmailed. The Epstein playbook is being used on a daily basis. Jeffrey Epstein was not a financier. He was not a hedge fund manager. Jeffrey Epstein was a key player in a multi-decade blackmail operation against the most powerful people on the planet.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's, conspiracy being that he started to noticed, and he was noticing too much, right? And he has a huge audience, and starting to turn people away from Trump, perhaps at that point as well, right? Trump is out here trying to keep the Epstein files hidden. Charlie Kirk was beginning to, make allegations that Epstein was connected to Mossad, right? And I think this was quite recent that he was starting to talk in these ways.
Okay. And let's see. Oh, I have two things actually. Yeah. So let's play this, and then we have the raging, and that's it. So do you want me to play the video, or do you want me to just basically read the summary of it?
I guess you could play the video.
Yeah.
I think he covers it all there.
Okay.
Leading up to 2013, the Institute of Medicine was commissioned by the United States Department of Health and Human Services to review the entire body of existing scientific literature to assess the safety of the CDC's childhood schedule as a whole. HHS paid the IOM to do that. After the IOM engaged in that task with a panel of multidisciplinary scientists, it concluded, quote, the studies designed to examine the long-term effects of the cumulative number of vaccines or other aspects of the immunization schedule have not been conducted, end quote. That's the Institute of Medicine's finding after reviewing the entire body of scientific literature. Meaning the IOM could not find studies comparing, as you would do to study the safety of a product, an exposed group, meaning kids that got vaccines, the childhood schedule, with unvaccinated children, kids who got no vaccine, which is what you would need to assess the safety of the schedule. Lacking evidence to support safety, the best the IOM can conclude was, quote, there is no evidence that the schedule is not safe, end quote. This, of course, also means the IOM cannot find evidence to conclude that the schedule is safe. The IOM report did say it is, quote, possible to make the comparison, meaning through vaccinated and unvaccinated children, through analyses of patient information contained in large databases such as the Vaccine Safety Data Link, end quote, which used to be housed at the CDC. But to date, the government has still not conducted this comparison. By the way, the CDC published a white paper in 2015 on how to do that study. Has it been done? I don't know. Has it been published? No. In 2017, one of our clients, Senator Johnson said earlier, the Informed Consent Action Network, wanted to see this exact study of comparing vaccinated versus unvaccinated children. As the trailer you just watched noted, Del Bigtree, ICANN's CEO, had met Dr. Marcus Service at one point, who was the head of infectious disease at Henry Ford Medical Center. And he agreed to meet and to potentially do the study. He is conducts clinical trials for vaccines, including for the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine. He's avowedly pro-vaccine. And when we met him, we argued that this was an opportunity to shut the anti-vaxxers up about their claim that unvaccinated children are healthier. To our surprise, Dr. Zerva said he would conduct the study. He recruited a chief epidemiologist and 2 statisticians with the Henry report to do so. These were mainstream scientists who no doubt held orthodox views regarding vaccines. In early 2020, I received a copy of the study. It showed the results of the analysis comparing children enrolled in Henry Ford from 2000 to 2016 from birth onward who had no vaccines compared to those who had 1 or more vaccines. The study was based on actual medical records, meaning finally a large vaccinated versus unvaccinated study using health data from a major United States health institution, something, as the IOM pointed out, never existed before. The study began by explaining it set out to reduce vaccine hesitancy by assuring parents the CDC vaccine schedule is safe. Instead, what these researchers found was that vaccinated children had 4.29 times the rate of asthma, 3.03 times the rate of atopic disease, 5.96 times the rate of autoimmune disease, and 5.53 times the rate of neurodevelopmental disorders, which included 3.28 times the rate of developmental delay and 4.47 times the rate of speech disorder. All of these findings were statistically significant. There was also other conditions for which there were numerous.
All right, you could kill there. You killed there. Okay. Jesus, long video. But listen, this is significant, right? So this took place on the floor. This is like a Senate hearing, or I don't even know where.
In front of Senate, yeah.
Yeah. So RFK Jr., in my opinion, doing a good job in that respect. We're starting to see these conversations take place. So this study that was buried, that was actually done by like pro-vaxxers at the time, doctors and researchers, where it's like, whoops, we did the study and it doesn't look too good, guys, when we compared the unvaccinated to the vaccinated children. Maybe things will start to change. They'll start to relook at these vaccines. Maybe we'll see some change in legislation. I mean, right now, talk about corruption, right? These pharmaceutical companies are immune from liability from vaccine injuries, which is just wild. Every vaccine comes with a list of known vaccine injuries that do in fact happen. I'm hearing now that they're going to pass legislation where they'd be required to show all those vaccine injuries, I think, during pharmaceutical commercials. And more so, obviously the pharmaceutical companies aren't going to want to do that, but like the real effect that might have is making them cost prohibitive, because it's also going to lengthen the time that it's going to take to run a commercial. So maybe we'll see less pharmaceutical ads. So, I mean, here's me advocating for state intervention to solve a problem. But I do think these pharmaceutical companies are out of control, and it's promising to see these discussions taking place on the floor of Congress. So I'm personally a fan of what we're seeing there. More noticing.
Yep, I agree with what he said.
Yeah, I don't know how accurate that study is, right? People are still like, this is a bullshit study. I mean, they literally were doing the study with the incentive to show the opposite, and it came out, then the study was buried.
Bullshit or not, I'm thinking that since the government is against you and doesn't, really want you to be truly educated, truly prosper, and all these things, how can I really trust them with my own health, and that they want my health to be good?
We saw with COVID with our own two eyes, right? We experienced the scam of vaccines with COVID to a very large degree, right? Does it apply to all vaccines? I don't know. You could go down that rabbit hole, but with COVID, come on.
Because nothing's ever been buried because it was inconvenient. No, of course not.
With COVID, you got the vaccine and you still got the virus, and then you still had to take the vaccine 5 more times. Like, come on. I think people woke up to that.
I want to see a post from the White House like, hey guys, here's a gym routine that you can do, or you do like running, we can help you with that. That'll be something that I want to see, and that's when they would actually care. And here's what you should eat, and
I think we'll start to see RFK Jr. videos, exercise videos. He already posts them, but maybe like you're saying, maybe give me an exercise routine. That'd be hilarious.
I want to see him do some pull-ups again, some muscle-ups, something. I mean, he was doing them before, but I haven't seen any now. I'm sure he's still, exercising, but I want them to be.
I mean, he's tan as hell. You can tell the guy's outside getting sunshine, like in the ocean every day. He's like, he's definitely trying to live what I would consider the healthy life.
Yeah, I'm sure he's still, doing push-ups and pull-ups. I just want him to be public, more pushing on it. But yeah, so last thing for this week, this one is on the Patriot Act that you guys brought up in the beginning, and how they're trying to bring out the Patriot Act to digital assets. So I'm going to read probably the first half more verbatim, just because I like it, and then you guys can read the rest of it. But yeah, it's crazy. So let's go into it. So this article was updated on September 12, 2025 at 3 p.m. ET to reflect that the Special Measures to Fight Modern Threats Act no longer contains... Actually, let's skip it a little bit, actually. There we go. So this week seems to be the week of revisiting useless legislation that turned fatal for the constitutional rights of U.S. Americans while proving lethal for many non-U.S. citizens. While we are happy to report that the Treasury is working on reforming the Bank Secrecy Act yesterday, signed into law by President Richard Nixon in 1970, this 9/11 anniversary, we have to report that the Treasury is working on applying the Patriot Act to digital assets. Signed into law after September 11th, 2001 by George W. Bush, the guy who sometimes forgets the difference between Iraq and Ukraine. And this is a reference when he was talking about the bombings and the war. And then he said something along the lines that, the horrible things that are happening in Iraq. I mean Ukraine. And he had a little slip right there. You guys can watch the video. But yeah, so he accidentally told U.S. Americans that his government was always looking for new ways to harm the country and illegally invaded not one but two foreign nations. Oops. The Patriot Act effectively grants the U.S. government special powers to bypass constitutional protection in the face of terrorism, including warrantless surveillance and the suspension of due process rights that have led to the unjust imprisonment and relentless torture of hundreds of people around the world. And that's what they want to bring to digital assets. Since 2001, the Patriot Act has significantly shaped the financial world, mandating more KYC, tightening AML, and increasing the sharing of sensitive information between both private and public entities. FinCEN Director Andrea Gacki confirmed that the Treasury is working on finalizing the so-called mixer rule, which uses the Patriot Act to prohibit private transactions in cryptocurrency. At the same time, Representative Nunn of Iowa let slip that the House appears to continue to work on the Special Measures to Fight the Modern Threats Act, a Patriot Act digital asset legislation that's long been thought dead, which would solidify the Treasury's use of Section 311 to prohibit specific transactions. And let's go over this one and this one as well. So FinCEN is finalizing Patriot Act mixer rule. In July, the White House asked the Treasury to finalize the so-called mixer rule, a Biden-era regulation that would outlaw almost every mechanism for privacy on public blockchains for U.S. Americans. In this week's FinCEN oversight hearing, Director Gacki confirmed that the Treasury is currently working on finalizing the rule. We're seeing more and more illegal transactions being done in crypto. This is my favorite part. Representative Liccardo claimed in the hearing, citing a study which found that out of 111 examined fraud cases, 91 allegedly involved so-called decentralized finance. So it's just a bunch of criminals using cryptocurrency, essentially. What the point is, or that a lot of fraudulent money is being moved around in DeFi. The concern here, according to Liccardo, arises from the pseudonymity of transactions. How exactly are you going to do your job when transactions move through DeFi? How are you going to do your job if people have privacy? While Gacki stated that the FinCEN was working with blockchain analysis companies to de-anonymize pseudonymous transactions, Liccardo countered that software, like mixers, would allow users to evade even sophisticated detection techniques. Oh no. They're not going to sleep at night once Monero is going to have the hard fork, FCMP++, carrot, all those stuff. Who knows? Maybe we're going to see some people get fired because
they probably already don't sleep well at night.
They probably, yeah. But to alleviate Liccardo's concerns, Gaki pointed Ricardo to the Biden-era mixer rule, stating that FinCEN and the Treasury are exploring the next steps on that. Since the mixer rule has already passed a notice of proposed rulemaking and public comment periods, its next step would be the finalization of the rule. Then I'll skip around. I'll read a bit of just this part, and then you guys can read the rest of it. It's a good article. But
if you just scan down to the mixer rules, not a mixer rule, go down a little further. Yeah, I'll read off that list, right? So
yeah,
this is basically everything that they would effectively be banning overnight, and it sounds like it's like something they can just like very swiftly do and implement because it's just a rule. Like they don't need to pass any new legislation. They're using the Patriot Act, and then they'll just promulgate this rule through the Treasury and then start enforcing it. But yeah, if you want to read a breakdown of what it is.
Yes. Let me just read this part too, and then I'll read that. So yeah, the mixer rule is not so much a mixer rule, it's rather than a blanket ban on any software and even behavior that would grant users of public blockchains transactional privacy. And this would include pooling or aggregating cryptocurrency from multiple persons, wallets, addresses, or accounts using programmatic or algorithmic code to coordinate, manage, or manipulate the structure of a transaction, splitting cryptocurrency for transmittal and transmitting the cryptocurrency for a series of independent transactions, creating and using single-use wallets, addresses, or accounts, and sending cryptocurrency through such wallets, addresses, or accounts through a series of independent transactions, exchanging between types of cryptocurrencies or other digital wallet assets, facilitating user-initiated delays in transactional activity.
I mean, this would effectively ban all of the Bitcoin privacy tools that exist.
Everything.
And then, yeah, what it would mean for like Monero and like Zcash and stuff, it's not too clear.
It's not that it would. It's not that it would effectively ban all the Bitcoin privacy tools. It's that it would ban all the Bitcoin privacy tools.
No. Exactly.
So
yeah, I obviously we gotta learn more about this. I want to try to get Lola Leitz on a show or something. She's hard to get. She participated in Monerotopia last year, but it'd be great to do a show with her now and get the full take on what's going on with this. Understand how real this is and what the implications will be. You know, it's like, does it mean that, you know, no exchange can list Monero overnight in the U.S.?
Oof.
I don't know.
Yeah, if this passes and you guys see us in ski masks and voice modulators, just know that it passed.
The show will go on. We'll just we'll go Anon.
Yeah, we need to get some.
The show will disappear, then come back with Anon versions of us. Hey, no, this is definitely not Doug.
That'll be so funny.
Everybody's name will just be Anon and using a voice modulator, so you won't be able to tell who's actually talking.
It's gonna be Anon 1, Anon 2, Anon 3, and Anon 4 on the show. And then we'll use like Batman voice modulators or something.
I don't know. Something tells me that it's more I don't know. I'd be very surprised if this went through in the U.S. and then overnight. But hey, I don't know. Maybe shit's that crazy.
Which, and
Patriot
to end
Act.
the news, please go ahead and donate to any Monero projects. Any proposals, Jeffro256 on the carrot, everything, just go and donate. And, you know, let's get these things moving. But yeah, the hard fork of Monero is just kind of, it's going to be insane.
If you want to see something go through the U.S. without much thought, Patriot Act after 9/11.
Right. I know. I was wondering what the next Patriot Act would be after the recent events, right? At some point, we're going to see something. I am Spartacus, tip $5.03. Please talk about Monero Pay and what it can be used for. I recently saw it show up on my Noto. Looks interesting. Okay. Yeah, maybe they updated. I announced last week I'm no longer part of the Noto project. It hurts just to say it, but I am proud that we were able to get it off the ground. Obviously, I'll still support the project. So yeah, maybe we could have Abdullah and Francisco come on at some point to talk about the Noto. But Monero Pay is basically like BTC Pay server. So it was, I know we had worked on it and to add it to the Nodo. I guess they finally fixed the tweaks to launch it. But picture it's like a BTC Pay server, but just strictly Monero based. So built it into the Nodo. So it could potentially be used as like a POS system, which is super cool. The Nodos will be at Monerotopia again this year. Hoping maybe we get Abdullah to come over to Monerotopia this year. Francisco, I would hope, will definitely be coming. But maybe we get some Nodo representation in that way. And you can do some workshops. That would be super cool. But thank you for the super chat. All right, so let's go ahead and move to viewers on stage. I don't have any special guests. We'll see if something comes with viewers on stage. Maybe we find somebody. Otherwise, no special guests this week, and I'll just play the segment at some point. But let's go ahead and do viewers on stage. Bada beep, bada boop. Thank you, Tony.
Yeah, see you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, Tony, stick around if you can. Adios.
The Monerotopia Viewers on Stage segment is sponsored by XMR Bar. Play dice with Monero using a privacy-respecting and provably fair algorithm. Go to xmr.bar. As always, verify and never trust.
Please gamble responsibly in accordance with the laws of your jurisdiction.
All right. Alaska, what's going on, man?
Life is good. The work is bottomless. It really does feel like there's never going to stop being shit to do, doesn't it?
You're very productive over there, huh?
I'm trying.
Me too.
I've had a lot of visitors, and I have a lot more coming.
I know. I spoke to one of them last week. Obviously, I saw one of them you had over there. But yeah, sounds like you had an amazing time.
The next one is
I will make it there at some point, man. I will make it over there at some point.
By then, I'll have a whole well, I've already said too much, but you'll see.
For the
My next visitor, I think, is gonna make you kind of like blush a little bit too. But I'm saving it for the. Let's see. Actually, by next Monerotopia, I'm gonna make a Monero talk dream come true.
Can they be the special guest on the next Monerotopia?
We'll see. I can't say too much, but because he's a private person. But maybe with a little convincing, I can make something happen that you've been trying to make happen for a very, very long time.
Nicholas Van Saberhagen is going to be hanging out with you in Alaska.
I don't reveal things, okay? But I will tell you this: this particular project is drawing some very interesting talent, and you're gonna be happy when. But I got to keep my mouth shut for now. But you see the people coming and going is all I'm saying. There's a reason.
Okay.
And it's going to be awesome.
Well, let me know when I need to show up, man. What do I got to do?
Well, there will be a time where it's going to go from invite to arm twist. And you don't want to know what happens after arm twist. But you will get here when the time is right. And I will be very sure of that. So
I mean, it's gonna have to be summer, right? I want to go there.
Oh, that's what you don't understand, man. There's certain things that happen in the winter here that are just as like you have to see it.
Actually, yeah.
Like,
Shit.
I have schemes. In fact, knowing what I know about the Tumen family, what I think at first I'm gonna get a lot of no from your better half. Once I can convince her to get here, there's this thing that you can do where you can go to hot springs in the coldest months of the year, pitch black outside. You can have drinks served to you in like ice mugs.
Freaking awesome.
Underneath the northern lights.
Yeah.
In just barely cool enough to even be in them water, like red hot springs. And then you can just enjoy some buffalo burgers and watch the northern lights. It's unbelievable. You can sleep in ice castles and yeah.
I did do that in Eastern Europe. The hot springs in the middle of the winter, like in the mountain. Oh my god, that is great. I do love that.
The best kind of cold therapy. Add 5 years to your life, man. If you survive it.
Monerotopia is coming to Alaska at some point.
We're almost ready. I've got things going on that is going to move the ball forward on the Freedom in Alaska thing. I've been saying forever the biggest holdup for Monero in Alaska is the liquidity pool. Nobody and now the thing is, all of those people's paranoia is now being proved correct. And what I mean by that is they refuse to use these exchanges because they just don't trust them. And every time that we have a reason not to trust them, it's evidence that's stronger than the last time and stronger than the last time. And there's like 4 or 5 people up here that have been using Kraken because they just didn't want to wait any longer. And as soon as they started waiting, or as soon as they stopped waiting, they have all of this reason to believe that Kraken is not what they said they were. You know, funds being tied up and withdrawals being locked out. And I don't know, I never dabble with that stuff. But the thing is all of us paranoid Alaskans are being proved correct that we just don't want to be part of the centralized exchange market.
Are any of the paranoid Alaskans using Retuswap?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much the guy on the bleeding edge of what's going on in that world. I mean, a lot of these people, you know, a log splitter is advanced technology to them. You move up here to get away from technology. You move up here to get away from politics and all that other stuff. You know, they know how to use a smartphone and all of that other stuff, but they want to see it move into the circular economy and just do its circuit. They don't want to find ways in and out over and over again. They want in and then stay in.
Can't blame them for that.
Yeah, but I keep telling people if somebody's interested, there's this amazing price arbitrage opportunity. You get your hands on some Monero, they will give you cash, and then you can get your hands on some Monero again. I mean, this is the ultimate place to do it. People will pay crazy premiums up here for private digital cash. Because the money making opportunities in Alaska, they're hard. It's not like you come up here and you just get any job and you do great, but it's a lot easier to live an upper middle class lifestyle in Alaska if you have seriously marketable skills than it is anywhere else. It's a special place, and the people up here, they hate big anything, whether it be big corporation or big government. It's all the same. They hate it all.
I mean, so we just need to build out the Monero ecosystem there, right? We need people on XMR Bazaar that are willing to swap Monero for cash, whatnot, things like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, one of the things that you notice, and I wish Yuli would come up. If you're out there, where are you? But
yeah, I wish you would, man. I
wish he would share his experience, because I think what you notice is artists can thrive up here too. You know, like it's like a developer bro can come up here, and your fast cash odd jobs pay better and they're quicker, and it's like if all you do is build websites, it's hard to explain, but they want to see you. They want to shake your hand and see you, and they want to talk to you about what they want. You go do your thing, you come back, you give them the bill, and they pay you in cash. Like, you could come up here just as a website developer and make piles of money, but they will not go on the internet and pay a guy to develop a website for them. They won't do it. Like, they don't trust you. They don't know you. If you can't be paid in cash, they're like, wait, you want me to use my credit card over the internet? Like, no, I don't trust this stuff. Like, you can make piles of money if you have talent. If you come up here, and you have to live ruggedly, though. You have to be ready for the consequences of being in nature, like being in it, not looking at it, not seeing it through your hotel window. It's like, you go outside and you work hard, and you got to have firearms because the bear is going to eat you if it finds you. Like, that's how it works. You know, it's no excuses living. You know, you won't get very far with your excuses in Alaska. It's wonderful.
So badass. Guys, jump on up. I put the StreamYard link in the chat. If anybody wants to join. I don't know, slow day today. Alaska. Oh, we got Wizard. Let's bring Wizard up. Wizard, what's
Welcome,
up?
Wizard.
Oh, I'm just saying hi.
Ah, the Wizard. What's going on, man?
I think the Wizard's got his own thing cooking too, don't you? Is the rumor?
Oh, I've got some things cooking. I'm expanding that website that we talked about last time. You talked about an institution or some kind of society that would have standards for Monero, and I think that's a great idea. And I want to do like a KYC, not me type of website where we could put up all different types of Monero software and show different qualities that they have, different pros and cons, and not in a grading sort of fashion, but hey, here's the things that they have going for them. Here's the things that you might want to be considerate about that they don't have, so that people can just have an easy reference point. And this could be something that can kind of grow like an institution, to make it so that by having inputs from different people, okay, here's the kinds of things that you should be adding to this thing, and here's things that others. Here's things that have that need an update because this wallet or this software is doing things differently now. That sort of thing. I'm excited for that because I think that'll help people navigate the Monero software community a lot better.
Yeah, I was really impressed to see you just start running with both feet on that idea. And it's not lost on me that I need to do my part and try to contribute wherever I can. So I will find my way over there quickly. I try to be the guy who finishes the one project before I go on to the other, though, as well, because I don't like to have a lot of things cooking.
I value that, and I also really value Doug's words today. I really think that this is like a true moment in a pivotal moment in our society where things are always kind of crazy, but things have gotten especially crazy. And you've done a great job of framing things in a way that's going to be useful for a lot of fellow humans.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I don't know if you guys want to comment on the things that are going on, Charlie Kirk stuff, all that. I don't know if we want to. I think we spoke a lot about it, but obviously, stage is all yours if you guys want to make comments on it. We'd love to hear Alaska's.
I might be one of those people that's
huge big picture take on it.
I might not
be an hour-long response, guys.
I'm not Mr. Peace, right? Like I think people have figured that out. I'm not a big believer in action through peace in the sense of. But a lot of people who are saying, oh, it's coming where, people realize there is no political solution and then they're going to turn to violence. One of the things that I constantly say on this show, and I hope that people are listening when I say this, the solution is neither political nor violence. The solution is to out-innovate and move society forward with technical solutions to the problem. The cool thing about technical solutions is they tend to be permanent and they tend to be cheap and efficient. And this idea that, it's always framed within this left versus right, especially when you have like a right-leaning political activist getting assassinated like this, to be like, oh, this is why you can't compromise with the left. You can't compromise with any of these people because there is no political solution. They're going to see what they see. You're going to see what you see. Debate is best for like things of dinner table size, not of national size. If you want to fix a problem, you have to come up with technical solutions that eliminate the problem entirely. So this idea of either you can go communism or you can go capitalism to deal with poverty. What if you just create abundance with technology? Then you don't have to worry about, oh, well, these people are trying to feed themselves in X, Y, and Z. Just make food more abundant, and then people don't worry about eating as much. People say, oh, the housing crisis, this and that. Well, we've already seen the solutions to the housing crisis is always technical in nature.
That's what I'm talking about. It's because you think of what we can do. Oh, sorry.
No, keep going. I'm listening.
I was saying that I think that that's exactly where we need to be, because people are going to be doing all kinds of stuff. I think it's great to be cognizant and kind of be aware of what's happening and try to look at where things are going. But what can we personally do to best contribute and best make things happen? I think that's exactly where it's at. It's technology, and then also social solutions, like starting Monerotopias and all those kind of things.
One of the reasons why I just love Wizard so much is because he's always trying to get people to actually use Monero. You know, you can do all of these things about like number go up and all of these, and there's nothing wrong with wanting the price to pump and wanting to do these cool things, but you've got to get the people to use Monero. And we say it all the time, but who are the people that are going out there to get others to use Monero? I mean, I've been around Doug and see him do it everywhere he goes. I've seen videos of Wizard like, hey, take this Monero, going to the conventions. Like, okay, I get that you like Monero, but can we use it right now? Let's use it right now. That's both. It's both technical and it's social. And you'll never know which one is more important. You might have somebody who's all about using it, but they need help with the technical side. You might have people who are very technically proficient, but they're not using it. So you get out there and you get them to use it and learn how to use it. It's the biggest thing that you can do. When people are talking about like going to these schools and doing the political back and forth, I'm glad that, you have this gentleman trying to facilitate debate. And the idea of, okay, the government printing money. But then you never see him when he's talking about the government printing money or where inflation comes from or all of this other stuff. I'll give you a really spicy one, like a practical example. A lot of the time, Charlie would talk about the crisis in the Black family with fatherlessness. And we've seen over and over again the evidence of the reason why you have more violent crime. It's not in this race or that race or this community. It's all about fatherlessness. When there's no father in the home, you're more likely to be violent. When there's no father in the home, you're more likely to end up in prison. Who knows if there is or isn't a genetic component? Because you would first have to take this huge chunk of data, which is fatherlessness, that would immediately cover any other minor point. Well, how did fatherlessness come into being? You can go right back to the Federal Reserve and the deflationary debt spiral of central banking. They are so causally linked, it's undeniable. Once you have the ability to create a welfare state, once you have the ability to finance fatherlessness, then comes the violent crime. And so instead of going into all of these rants about, like the left and LBJ and blah, he could have said, we can fix this now by using Monero. You can kill the state. You can kill the social welfare system by using Monero. And then if somebody was like, well, we need the social welfare for X, Y, and Z, you can turn it on them and say, if somebody could go work at McDonald's and save their money because it's Monero, then they'll preserve their wealth and they have a way to go buy a house. They have a way to afford food next month. They have a way to save. Trying to get people to actually use the technical solutions And this is one of the reasons why I never got behind all of these big institutions like Turning Point USA. Okay, so we're going to talk about politics for the next 25 years and nothing is going to change. You have to start deploying the technical solutions if you want to fix problems.
Yep, people have their unit of account wrong. When you use the right unit of account, this stuff stops.
It doesn't even have to be about Monero. One of the greatest arguments of all time is if you were paid in silver quarters in 1964 and you saved those silver quarters, you would have actually done better than inflation because the money held its value. Well, if I was still paid in silver quarters right now, I mean, what would minimum wage be like in the hundreds and hundreds of dollars or whatever? The problem is the money. Even if people are big government people, it's okay, do your government thing or whatever, but can we all agree that if I make money, it should still be worth that same amount in 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks? Nobody in their right mind is going to say, oh, deflation of the value of the dollar is wonderful. Like, nobody believes that. Everybody believes that if you get paid, it should buy the same thing in 8 months. You don't have to argue left and right. You don't have to argue about like the next bill in Congress or whatever. You defang all of these institutions that are here to destroy you by simply focusing on the technical aspect. And it does actually also tie in with what Wizard had brought up last week, which is that there has to be some kind of mechanism for accountability. It doesn't have to have a big stick. It just has to be people not doing the same work over and over again. Like a reliable place where you can get information that is true. Yesterday, today, tomorrow. And that's the same as your money holding its value yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Because money is nothing more than a unit of trust. I trust that this is making the accounting that I believe it is. And if there's an element of trust to open source software, which is built into the way that we do it, but not everybody can participate unless they learn the language and they review the code themselves and they compile it themselves. And I'm totally the guy that would be doing that every time if I had time. But the thing is why can't people who have something productive to do with their time be able to lean on some of these institutions that can audit code, be able to lean on institutions like Monero to preserve their spending power? It's all the same. It's all about trust. And that's why it's hard to see brain power like Charlie go that far into their political thing. And can we be honest about the fact that nothing got done? But now there's a dead man and some fatherless children. Like, he spent all of this time and people spent all of this money trying to reach out to, mostly college students or whatever, have the debate and so on. But nothing actually changed. You had a few people move their opinion from one side to the other, but those people aren't going out and fixing problems now. They're just more aware of how fucked everything is. Whoop-de-doo. Like, if all of that time had been, if there was a guy like Charlie just going college campus to college campus, like, let me show you how to use Monero and get out from underneath the fangs of the tax system. You would, every 10 people would be like a real impact. And it wouldn't have to be, okay, now we can vote so much harder this time. This next election, we're going to vote really, really hard. And then things are going to not change even harder.
He would have been assassinated much sooner, though.
That's fine. If you got 10 people, that's still a win.
All good points. Speaking of just using it, growing adoption, bringing up XMR Bazaar, we actually made a post, actually 2 posts this week. One, we're looking for somebody who could do social media marketing for Monerotopia. So for the conference. So if you're interested, reach out to us on XMR Bazaar. Basically looking for somebody to run our social media, to promote the conference on X and whatnot. I see, there's a lot of talented social media people out there on X
these days. Is the wage priced in Monero?
Yes, we will price it in Monero for sure. So yeah, reach out to us, make an account on XMR Bazaar and DM us, or you could hit me up on X, but I'd rather you go through XMR Bazaar. This way we're using that as well. You could stay anon. Yeah, we're just looking for somebody that has skills in that area. And actually, we put up another post too. Oh, somebody that could help me find guests for Monero Talk and Monerotopia. It's hard for me to do this while doing everything else I do. I had somebody that was helping me with it for a while, and they're no longer able to do it. So it's just been me doing it. And, you know, I'm open to having all sorts of types of guests. So somebody who thinks they'd have good skills at being able to reach out, get in touch with people, takes a little research, hit people up, hit them, DM them, hit them up, you know, send directly to their emails, whatever it may be, track them down. If you're interested in helping us get good guests for Monero Talk and Monerotopia, once again, reach out on XMR Bazaar, looking for somebody that will do that. And obviously, we pay in Monero.
You should probably run the guest segment.
All right, yeah, let's do it. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. I was hoping that we'd have somebody jump up, but it doesn't look like we have anybody. So let me go ahead and run it before we close.
I got one more thing.
Well,
so
we're gonna make you the special guest today, Wizard.
Okay.
Here we go. Here we go.
The Monerotopia guest segment is sponsored by Cake Wallet. Store, send, receive, and exchange your Monero and Bitcoin safely on iOS and Android too. Cake Wallet is open source, and you always control your own keys.
Go ahead, Wizard.
Okay, so this is week 2 of going to the farmer's market and seeing what I can do to onboard vendors onto Monero. I took some thoughts into account after last time, and I figured, okay, how am I going to get progress here? Thing is, I realized for them, the first step was just getting them to recognize cash is king. Then they just need to make the step from physical cash to digital cash. But why would they accept digital cash when they prefer that cash that's physical? I'm like, okay, this is great. So I started making purchases, but I started realizing these people aren't always at the farmer's market. They don't always come to the same farmer's market. They also like to sell their stuff digitally. Now we got a bridge. So I started talking to them about. Yeah, I started
the list on XMR Bazaar, right?
Oh, I should do that.
Yeah.
I was just trying to.
It's a very good match for anybody who's out there like vending, right? Because like, oh, they like selling things for cash. They could sell things for cash online to a community of people that like buying things for cash, digital cash.
That's going to make it easier, isn't it? Because then it's not just me. I'm opening them up to a whole new market.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, I got some new progress there. I got their cards to talk further. So that's as far as I've gotten. But I would love to hear, that's exactly what I hear, Doug. Like, what should I try next? What should my next moves be to get people at the farmer's market for next week?
Yeah, I would, convince them like, hey, would you be willing to, so did you get them to accept Monero yet or no? They haven't been.
I got them to accept the idea of it, and give me their card to talk further about it.
Okay. I mean, I would, as you're buying things, another thing you do is, get them to download the wallet. Be like, listen, let me just send you a tip in Monero, right? Like this apple pie was so good, I just want to send you a tip. You give them a little Monero tip, and then you keep talking to them. You like selling your apple pies for cash. You could sell them for digital cash on this platform, xmrbazaar.com. Try to get them to post, make a listing, then tell them, oh, also on this website, if I could list you as a Monero accepting vendor. So look, you have your Cake Wallet already. I already gave you that Monero tip. You got Cake Wallet. So if you want, I could post you on XMR Bazaar that you're willing to accept Monero, and you'll be surprised. There'll be people that will find you on there, and they'll come out and they'll buy an apple pie for you with Monero. and it's a way to start bringing in new customers and earning more cash. Like, it takes a certain mindset from somebody, but I think most people that
I like
are
it.
like in this business that are already out there selling things for cash, the dots do connect. Now, the only thing then the question becomes, then they say, well, what do I do with my Monero, right? So that's the next thing is, what do I do with my Monero? All right, well, then you're showing them how to
that's why Cake pays right there in Cake Wallet.
Right, you're showing them how to buy gift cards with Monero, and they can do that anonymously. They buy stuff. Everybody buys stuff from Home Depot. Like, all right, you could buy a Home Depot gift card with Monero. Obviously, even better, you could go on XMR Bazaar. You can spend it there. All right, that might be a little bit of a stretch for people initially. You send them to Monerica. There's all these businesses that accept Monero. But yeah, if you're really in a pinch and you need to turn it into value overnight, you could buy pretty much any type of gift card you want directly with the Monero. And then you obviously give them the long-term spiel as well. Like, well, you might just want to hold on to it, right? I mean, you hold on to your fiat, right? You hold on to your cash. How's that been doing for you, right? I mean, were you're able to buy a slice of pizza for $1 30 years ago, and now it's like $4. Maybe you want to just hold on to some of this Monero and spend it as you need it. So you convince them on all those fronts.
Yeah, and this is much better than a cold like a cold call, like like a cold approach kind of thing, because your relationship starts out with you buying from them and them selling to you and them opening up their business to you.
It's very low risk for them, right? They're out there, they're selling whatever their homemade apple cider out there. They're selling it for cash. They just want customers. They'll be like, all right, are you willing to accept this new form of payment in addition to what you already do, right? So, like, what's the risk? So you start getting a couple of new people a week that come and pay in Monero. Like, you're not taking a huge risk. You're not, like, overnight moving over to a completely Monero world where all your customers are paying in Monero. You're making, at best, an extra $50 a week in Monero. And then you can decide what you want to do with it. And then obviously it will slowly ramp up from there. But it's not like they're even taking a large risk on their part, if you really think about it.
Right. So there's the balance of that, of showing them what you can do with Monero, but there's also that thing where I want to show them that Monero is money, and one easy way to do that is that these types of vendors, they all accept Cash App, and the fastest way that exists to turn something in your Cake wallet into something that you could spend on your credit card, or just in an account that these kind of vendors regard as it's in my bank account, so it's real money, is to go from Cake wallet to Trocador to Cash App. If I showed them that, they'd be like, okay, it is real money.
How do you do that? So you go from Cake wallet and then you swap in Trocador to what to get it to Cash App?
You go to Cash App, and then you go to your Bitcoin, and then say get deposit address, and then you copy that, and then you go to Trocador, and then you create the transaction, and then you paste in the withdrawal address in the Bitcoin, and then it'll give you an XMR address. And it works both ways. You could actually get XMR very quickly that way. It's the fastest way to move that kind of, like, up to $2,000 a day. So it's very practical for that kind of money. But for them, it's Cash App with extra steps now. So I still need to show them. So I need to show them that first off, I want to show them that it's real money to them, which that would be a very easy thing to do. But I also need to give them the incentive to show them that it's more than that and it's worthwhile. So I'm going to be thinking about how to do that for next week.
Yeah, and then the other thing is have them just swap into stable coins, right? They can learn about that. But obviously, I mean, ideally, you want them to understand why it's good to stay natively in Monero if you really understand what Monero is, right? But yeah,
so one of the things about that, Doug, is I don't know how to explain it, but I will tell you this: I have noticed if you show somebody how to get out of Monero, that not only are they more interested in getting into Monero, but they want more Monero. So I had a guy at my dinner table. He's a cow guy, and he was very interested in getting into Monero because he's a gold bug, and he had learned from me about gold backs and all these other things. And there are people buying meat from him in like silver and gold. And he was like, I told you I wanted to sit down with you and talk about Monero while I'm in the area. Let's talk about this. And at first he was like, how can I get $1,000 worth of Monero and how do I use it? The minute I showed him how you could get dollars for it, he was like, how do I get $10,000 worth of Monero? There's just a 10x immediately when he realized that there was like an on and off ramp. And that's even with the extra stipulations that come with doing it up here with the way that people like to do money. I have noticed that people are much more interested in staying in Monero when they know that there is an exit.
You can buy land in Japan for Monero.
I think that's actually something that needs to go with it. I think that's actually what I'm leaning towards now that Alaskanon said it is try to focus on showing them getting them money via digital cash Monero, and in a way that they know is real to them because they're able to get out of it. But that's not the end of the, also give them a prelude, let them know, hey, there's a lot of really great stuff about this, and I'm going to teach you more about that. But get them hooked on wanting it first, and once they want it, then but also give them a clue that there's a lot more to it.
This would be a loss of money on your part, but if you're willing to do it, you might pay them twice for the item. So like if you're going to buy a pound of potatoes, whatever a pound of potatoes costs in dollars, you would pay them in dollars and give them that same amount of money in Monero. And as I said, that would involve a bit of a loss on your part. But if you're willing to take that,
Well, I mean, I would just give them a tip, right? I mean, you don't want to make it so cost prohibitive,
because
right?
then there's literally no risk to them at all, because then you can show them the gift cards and everything like that. But then there's literally no risk to them because they got paid for the item in the thing they understand. If you're willing to do that.
Yeah, it's not super sustainable. I think selling it as a tip, right? Like those potatoes, look, they were awesome last time. These are great. Let me give you, $5 tip in Monero or something.
Yeah, I also don't want to devalue Monero by making it seem like it's worthless. So I'll just give it to you. Hey, I'll also pay you this extra stuff because it's not worth anything to me.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I totally do that all the time. I say, I'll pay you in Monero, but I want a discount. And I don't even necessarily stick to it, but I open with the idea that I value the Monero more than I value the dollars. And then eventually they're like, well, I don't know if I'd take a discount for it. And then you can say, oh, you must not know what Monero is. And then like walk them through it all. It's like, since this is your first Monero transaction, I think I'll go without the discount. But it's if you don't know about this, if you don't see this as worthy of a discount, then you clearly don't understand what it is. Let me show you how private it is. Let me show you how you can't be stolen from. And that people love that.
Quadrio Chelata tipped $9.99. Wow, very generous. Can you please use this towards a competition prize fund for new banner on XMR Bazaar? I think the AI generated look can turn some people off a bit. Would be really awesome to have something community. Yeah, no, we've been the banner actually has grown on me in ways. Obviously, it was like made literally right before we launched. Like Anarchio just made some AI thing. It does get the point across, but yeah, it's very cheesy. We will upgrade that. I like the idea of a contest. We were thinking of doing that, and I greatly appreciate the tip. But I also want to make it like a sponsor space, so almost like we have boosts. So make it like a super boost space where you can buy the billboard on top of XMR Bazaar. So we can incorporate that perhaps just with the new design. So maybe we do the contest in that regard. Somebody to design the top space that becomes this super boost billboard for people to get their sponsorship or advertisement out on XMR Bazaar is what I'm thinking.
the search box is going to have to move, especially on mobile for that, because it's covering up half the banner itself.
Yeah, yeah.
I was just about to say the same thing.
Off the banner. Have to move that completely off the banner.
By the way,
that's what I'm looking at doing.
Oh, I was going to say those art competitions, they totally work. Sid and I won one once. You got to go on Dread, and they have a whole thing for it, and you'll get some great submissions.
Fantastic. Yeah, we'll put the word out one way or the other. We do have some things coming up with. I know I've been talking about Trocador integration forever. That's gonna go live this week, any day now, probably this weekend even. So that's cool. So you'll be able to pay in a number of different cryptos, and then it auto converts into Monero for the seller. So maybe you got some. You could get your friend with Dogecoin to start using XMR Bazaar, right? Like, we want to encourage people to come with other cryptos to XMR Bazaar. They could use them to spend and get out of those cryptos, and it will just grow Monero as the people making the sales are receiving Monero. So excited about that. And then we're also adding a forums feature. But this is really cool. I think it's unique. I think it's been tried in other cryptos in other ways, but I haven't seen it yet in Monero. So we're making a forum where you can then send tips in Monero as upvotes. So it will become a way to earn Monero by providing quality content on the forum. You could be answering XMR Bazaar questions, just general topics around Monero, explaining, what full chain membership proofs are, whatever it may be, right? Like, whatever the latest discussions are in Monero. So if you submit quality posts, you'll get rewarded with Monero as people upvote you with Monero tips. So excited about that as becoming another way to grow the XMR Bazaar ecosystem with good content around Monero, and just become a new way for people to actually earn Monero, KYC free. So that should launch this weekend as well. That's ready to go.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I think that'll be cool, right? I think I've been trying to come up with ways to really keep people on XMR Bazaar, right? Because part of this, we want everybody hanging out in this marketplace all day, right? They could stay anon, but this is how we continue to build the network effect. People working among each other, creating an economy. So I thought forums was a great way to keep people on the platform, providing content, interacting with each other, using Monero to tip each other. So I'm excited to see how that works out.
Yeah, and that concept has been tried and tested on the darknet web for the cryptocurrency conversion. There's a base currency, and then you could pay in other currencies, but for offering the exchange, it's a little bit extra if you pay in a different currency. So it does motivate using the base currency, while also allowing people to, if they're stuck on this one currency and they want to pay in that, then they can.
Mm-hmm.
You know what else I think would be really, really interesting is a paid poll function. So where a person so it's a paid poll where you can post a Monero wallet address, and then you can post a different address. So each address costs like a certain amount of money. So you can have as many votes as you want. Do you want yes, no, maybe? Each one is a different address. So a person can pay to have the poll up there. And then if you click a certain button for yes, it'll automatically send a certain amount of Monero to that wallet. And then the wallet accumulates wealth over time as the vote. So if people feel strongly about something, they can vote, 0.1 Monero. If somebody just wants to say their opinion, they can do 0.01 Monero or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then there's a known location that wallet gets spent to, but all of the votes get spent that way. So in other words, you could pay for a boost that shows a poll that's aggregating money for a certain vote. I know it's hard to explain what I'm getting at here.
But what do you mean? So me as say I'm the person posting the poll. So I keep the money that's raised from the poll?
No, it should be where XMR Bazaar offers as a service, it will generate wallets as voting blocks.
Yeah, I get
so
that
you
part.
can pay a certain amount of money to have a wallet put up to vote in a certain direction, and then details on where the money is supposed to go. Now, a lot of people would say, well, that would be custodial. Well, no, it's more like fundraising. So what I mean by that is they submit to get a wallet of a poll created, and they submit where they think each vote should go. And then you have this known third-party element. In this case, people would think of it as Doug, but eventually it's like XMR Bazaar just generally. So you pay, let's say, 1 Monero to host this voting thing. And if people vote yes, then that wallet is to be used to donate to this thing or that thing. If the vote is no, then the wallet is used for this other thing. You see, so I'll give you an example. Should we fund Carrot? If yes, all of that Monero goes to Carrot. I know that they already have a wallet to donate to, so I guess all of the money would go to that wallet. If no, it's going to go to the Electronic Freedom Foundation or something. You see what I'm saying? So you can basically pay on XMR to have your voice heard, and all of the money from your vote goes to donating to whatever it is that's predetermined by the creation of the wallet. However, somebody can pay to have that visibility. So I want to see this happen, and these are the different votes. Yes, donate to Carrot. No, donate to Electronic Freedom Foundation. Other, like, only Jesus can fix this, and it goes like to an Orthodox, church or something. You see what I'm saying? But you could vote with Monero by actually donating, but it provides a certain visibility because there's a view key that's showing the accrual of the totals. So it's like a way to publicly cast your vote, but anonymously. And I haven't thought it through that well, but I'm just saying that's a good home for it. XMR Bazaar.
It's an interesting use case. I hear you. Yeah, it's got to be worked out as to. Yeah, I hear you though.
But people always say vote with your dollars, right? And I fucking hate democracy. I think it's the gayest thing ever. But
I mean, just a Kickstarter function, which Kuno is like I've always thought, like maybe trying to integrate a Kuno-like function into XMR Bazaar, because then that also solves the issue of knowing who the people are a little bit better. Obviously, scams are happening in XMR Bazaar as well, but we have a better, I think, profile system being built up. With reviews and connected to social media and people verifying themselves and purchasing bonds. So adding a Kickstarter feature for people that want to fundraise, things like that. Quadria.
If you sorry, go ahead.
Quadria Chalata tipped 29 cents. A while back, we messaged about Mastodon Fediverse integration for verification on XMR Bazaar. Do you have plans to do that? Yeah, I think it's on the list, but if you don't mind, you could, on XMR Bazaar, you could submit like a feature request. Actually, if you want to wait, once Forums launches, which is soon, we're going to have that integrated into that. So that could be a great first test for you to use our forums. You could list your favorite ideas there.
And you can manually do it already. If you want to manually do that, you can message LEA, AILLIA, and she will do it as long as you put up the post in the format that they ask for. She'll manually verify it. I did my Nostr that way.
Oh wow, that's great. Yeah, we gotta make it more automated though, just so we could scale with that. So yeah, I'm totally open to coming up with
but it can be done right now.
When people offer ideas like this, it goes a long way to not only formulate the thought, but also point to somebody who could actually accomplish the integration that might be interested in doing it. Because when you have good ideas, sometimes the thing that will hold it back the most is figuring out who would have the technical expertise to do it and would also be willing, and then reaching out to them and all that. some of those steps go a long way to, and I'm not just talking about XMR Bazaar, I'm talking about almost every project in the world of software, to go through the motions of also finding somebody who can actually accomplish the integration and would be willing to do so. That can help a lot for getting these things moving.
For sure, yeah. And yeah, if you're interested, reach out in helping. Also, it'd be nice to have a website verification where someone puts a link to the XMR Bazaar in their personal web. That's kind of cool. I mean, that'll be gamed. People use that to kind of like verify themselves with, I don't know, fake websites of a fake persona. But I mean, obviously that can be done on social media as well. But that's an interesting, that's cool. That really opens up verification. So yeah, you can connect yourself to a website that you're proving that you run by putting your XMR Bazaar profile, integrating it into the website. I think that could certainly be done. That's pretty cool. I like that actually. So yeah, like I would be able to like associate myself with Gratuitous or Monerotopia.com, right? And prove that I'm in fact the one running that website.
I know that Mastodon already does that. They use DNS records, so when you put a site in like that, it'll check the DNS records of the site, and if you're this metadata tag is in the DNS records, it will automatically put like the little blue check mark or whatever to say that, hey, this person has associated themselves with this site and they own this domain.
Speaking of DNS, we didn't talk much about the different solutions being proposed for the proof of work attacks we're seeing. Things have kind of calmed down a little bit. I don't know, Shortwave, have you been keeping up with everything with like Cubic's latest, or have they been making any new progress?
No, I haven't really been keeping up with it. I've been checking.
They kind of died out a little bit, right?
Yeah, I've been checking on attack days, and what's been happening is that actually more of their blocks are getting orphaned than of known pools. So like I checked the other day, and it's like, 60 blocks from known pools have been orphaned, and 68 blocks from the unknowns have been orphaned. It's like, well, they're failing then, aren't they?
I saw the Quai solution being discussed. So we had that guy from Quai Network on Monero Talk, Dr. K, and he was proposing work shares as a solution, as the ultimate solution for proof of work. Sounded very convincing. Obviously I'm not the guy to decide if there's some fundamental flaw there. But what was exciting was I saw him in the Monero Research Lounge. I kept giving him a heads up, like, go to the Monero Research Lounge. They're talking about it. And he jumped in and he had a discussion with the Monero devs. So that was exciting to see.
See, that's perfect.
Yeah. And discussion was had around the idea, and he was giving them, a lot of good, good responses to their questions. But I haven't heard much talk about it since, so I don't know. And I know the DNS record solution, the DNS checkpointing is being discussed as like a top solution, as something to have that we can implement like right away once it's ready to go, like with a click of a button type thing. But yeah, I don't know where they're currently at with that.
Yeah, the DNS checkpointing is a temporary fix. It's definitely not a permanent fix.
Yeah.
It's just a temporary Band-Aid.
Yeah. So there's some that are like, well, why are you okay with this, but you're not okay with like the proof of stake finality layer, trying to like make comparisons there. But this is meant to be temporary. I guess, once again, I'm not technical enough to say whether or not we should go this route. I was interested in this work shares thing being discussed as the ultimate solution. I thought that sounded really cool. Sounded like it almost takes us closer to the ideal of one CPU, one vote, which sounds awesome. Like working in tandem with RandomX, essentially eliminating even the need for pools, and effectively as anybody's mining, it's almost like everybody's mining effectively in a pool together at that point. Sounds a little too good to be true, but hey, I don't know. People figure things out. The fellow Earthling tipped $14.34. Very generous. It is heartwarming how much Doug's family shows love for him and he for them. Fantastic people all around. Wow, that was very generous. And it's very true. I love my family. Family is the most important thing, guys. If you don't have one, make one. In whatever, that comes in all different forms, but having close people, few close people in your life that you treat like blood, nothing better than that. What else, guys? Speaking of family, I wouldn't mind wrapping it up here, going to spend time with the fam. It's a beautiful day over here.
We can do that.
We got some things planned over here on my end. You guys can do the same. Stop looking at X, put down the phone, get away from the propaganda machines for a little bit, go stretch your legs.
Get on Meshtastic.
Earn some Monero, right? Yeah, let's leave it here. I'm down for that. Nice 3.5-hour show. Not too shabby. Any last words, Shortwave, Alaska?
Bye, Monero.
I'm going to call you directly, Doug, on Signal when this is over to share with you something real quickly, and it'll be quick. I know it's not usually quick from Alaska.
I will take the call outside.
Yeah.
So I could take my shirt off, get some sunshine before the sun goes down. I gotta get
for
my
real.
Dose. Actually, I already got a little bit during the price report. I walk outside. I listen to it on my phone. Sorry, guys. You guys should all be doing the same. Everybody should be doing the same. All right, I'm going to go ahead and roll the credits. We do these shows every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Sometimes we move it a little bit. We'll see you next week. Adios.
God bless everybody.
Cheers.
Thank you for joining us on this week's Monerotopia episode. We stream live shows every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. You can find and subscribe to our show on YouTube and Odyssey, or listen to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or Stitcher. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or join us in the Monerotopia Telegram group. See you all next week.